One of these teams. Shut up. It's unfortunately one of these teams is also going to be going away, and you know, we've kind of talked about it. Like, we don't want to see either of them go. These are two fan favorite teams, two underdog teams that I think have insanely high potential, but for one reason or another just haven't been able to live up to it. And they've got to show us something worth sticking to now, because again, lower bracket, tournament lives on the line. You've never faced a challenge as dire as this one, so you best come correct.
Yeah, best to come correct and best to get this thing started in the right fashion. So it's going to be a double Mantis, no advantage this time. We'll see the next bands locked in a second. Gambit going to be the first protector for this Z10 this time around. Chiefs going to see what they can take away from them here. Will it be a strategist? Be another, you know, duelist onto this one? Nope, it's going to be a rogue, so disengaging the team up before it can even be thought about.
Yeah, it's a pretty bog standard way to start things out. Like, if I had to predict what's going to be coming up next for some of these bans and picks, of course, you know, you're going to go for that Gambit Protect for the side of Z10. And now the onus is going to be on to the Chiefs to try and break the mold here. But of course, why would they do that when they could just stick to it, you know, protect the rogue? And that, I think, is a very safe way for both of these teams to start this tournament off. You know, you have the Chiefs trying to shake the cobwebs off from yesterday, that kind of tainted victory that that Reject got over them. And you have Z10, you know, trying to figure out what went wrong and trying to give themselves a control environment to figure that one out. A rocket on the Protect is going to be a great way to do that. I kind of like this to kick things off.
Yeah, this is going to be great for the Chiefs to play into there, and you can definitely know that's going to be donned by Bubble. I mean, there's a reason they were taking away MVPs on that one before. Looks like Cyclops will be locked out, though, by Z10 this time. So, going to be trying to play in to the Luna on the Protect, and Cyclops going to be double-sided. So fascinating. It's on the end side of the draft here. That's incredible, CB. But you know what else is incredible? The Chiefs are starting Jongvek on the Psylocke.
Yeah, that's an interesting look. It's going to be mirror bands that come out, but not mirror compositions. It's a very dive-focused, well, I guess a split dive. It's a triple Vanguard lineup that comes out from the Chiefs, as a matter of fact, with Jongvek being the only duelist, and that is a very interesting look. It's something that we haven't seen from a whole lot of other teams. And Z10, though, looking to try and go in. Jerry goes in, but forces out some resources. They're able to repel him for the time being, and now Jongvek wants to take that duel, and once again, Jerry is going to be the first to fall.
And maybe a following up. It looks like a Marvel in a bit of trouble here. Jongvek are trying their best to disconnect them from their strategists here. They will be able to maintain line of sight for a little bit of time here, though. So great stuff from Marvel to try and stall them, but the Chiefs will get that early capture when it counts here. And Jongvek ain't even close to being done. They're looking to run around the outside here, forcing Jerry out of position onto this one to see if they can take fights here. And this could be good if they can disconnect that duelist. But for now, though, it's going to be Soko starting off with a Banhammer.
Xe looking to try and get a couple of shots down range, catches Beast Node on the fly, and will swat him like the very same. And now Banhammer going to come out from the other side here. Jerry going in, able to take down Bubble, and now he's going in trying to take this duel against Jongvek, get his revenge. Soko will be there for one as well, and Jerry will get his man, and Z10 will clap back with this capture percentage. Only, I believe, is going to be 40% for the Chiefs before the flip comes through. Nope, just shy, 39.
Yeah, close, but not close enough this time. The change-up has already been enabled for the Chiefs, though. Looking to put Jongvek on to the Elsa, Beast Node on to the Angela now. See if they can shift directions here. Interesting to see Reno actually bringing out the Magneto, so maybe going to be a new Dunk Master in town on this one. See how it plays out in a second, though, as they try and push through the gates. Actually going to run out the outside, though. Reno in a bit of trouble, but it is going to be Zykrek going first there with the Rage Royal Flush. Dance Floor coming out. Actually good for the Ansong as well. Waiting on delay there. Bubble out of play as well. Great from Jerry to enable themselves onto this one, and going to see if they can capture a few more on the outer rim of this one.
The Bubble got kind of caught out there. There's going to be another Royal Flush that ends up coming out, this time from Creative, and Z10 looking to push the advantage. Meteor Rim now from Reno, but ain't quite LeBronald. That one, I think, hit Rim, and is going to be bouncing back out. Z10 going to catch the rebound, but on the rebound, Zykrek is going to find a pick there onto Jerry, and I mean, Jerry goes down with that let the devil out, and he's not going to be able to contribute that ultimate to this next fight, and this fight is really kicking off, forcing out the Freedom Charge from Marvel, but as a Royal Flush now coming out from the Chiefs off of the duplicate from Bubble, Reno is just going to burst Wendy down, making up for that Meteor Ram, and a nice little poke to the noggin of Xe, and Beast Node will put him down. That's going to be the Chiefs finding the flip.
will be fighting hard and fighting strong there in order to force their way through to get the capture back. Jerry in a bit of trouble as well. Just barely holding on to this
Soko
one.
bails him out.
Luckily, yeah, gets bailed out of that fight. Going to be good to hold on to as many players as they can here. So they try and layer their approach from the side rooms here. Looking to pelt up a little bit of damage. Might just be able to enable it. Like, Jerry's ready with Soko now. They're looking to dive straight in, but Beast Node impales them there. Heaven's Retribution coming out, and Jerry going out of town. Jongbeck ready to support them, and it will be double down from downtown.
It's still not bad, though, for Zero Tenacity. Like, they needed to take a dry fight there because Jerry was never going to be able to get, like, a 2-piece, 3-piece with just a level out with no tools to be able to bolster that. So they force out both the Heaven's Retribution and the Banhammer from the front line of the Chiefs, and now only a Glartrox online and a small window of time before Zykrek gets up to this Raging Royal Flush, and now Zero Tenacity have the tools to match it or potentially break through this defense.
And Marvel already are looking to push in. Neville coming out there from Jerry as well. In a bit of trouble, though. They've been focused down immediately. No one there to assist them. And now going to be the Banhammer coming through from Soko as well here. Reno doing the best they can to disengage Marvel and will succeed. Exy good with the end song there. Can stall it out a bit longer while they get the rest of their team here. But Reno, their focus is on the strategist right now. Freeze comes through at the right time. Beast Node trying to impale them as well. Dance floor just in time from Wendy here. Reno good with the Meteor, trying to disengage it. Somebody's got to go, somebody's got to stay. It's got to be creative. Exactly the player they needed. They have no Raging Royal Flush. They have nothing else to sustain them through the fight here. The Chiefs bring out all the pain and take first capture point.
And I mean, I hate to harp on it, but, like, Jerry has got to change something up, man. He is getting caught out on the flanks, on off angles all by himself, trying to go for some of these big plays, and just denied any opportunity to do so. He's playing a lot of these, dive duelists, but, dive duelists got nerfed. Like, they're not as strong as they once were. They're still viable. Heroes like Daredevil are still good, but you need hands. It's not just a free win anymore. It's not just like, you can't just go in with Black Cat and have infinite cooldowns and get value anymore. It just doesn't work that way. You have to have a little bit of setup, and you have to be there to execute. But the only thing that was being executed was Jerry every single time he tried to go in for a play, and the Chiefs made the most out of those 5v6 situations. Something, again, has to change for Zero Tenacity, and the clock is going to keep ticking, and sooner or later, it's going to strike midnight, and if they haven't changed by the time it ticks over, they're going to be saying goodbye.
And the trouble was, there was also focus on Marble there as well, playing into that dive-centric role. It looks like the change has come out, though, now. Jerry's and Exy are switching roles here, where Exy's actually playing into the Wolverine here. Jerry going to be on the Phoenix. Unfortunately, no Primal Flame team-up anymore, but it would have been good if that one was still there for this situation. We'll see how things go down now, though, as Marble dives straight into the fray, but not today.
I do think this is a good change-up, though, for Zero Tenacity, because in other hero shooters, Jerry has been a very strong hit-scan player, and, they are able to flex around with that one, so it's now going to be up to Exy on the Wolverine, but Marvel with a diving strike right on top of Zykrek. Zykrek catches the belly flop practically on his face. Now Bubble, though, going to get a duplicate Raging Royal Flush. The Chiefs want to try and get themselves back into this fight, and an Assassin's Charge Beast Node goes about as deep as you possibly can, and he'll get rewarded for his efforts with a Raccoon on the end of his skewer, but Jerry is now starting to come online here on the Phoenix, gonna put him down, and Exy getting in there alongside. With that ultimate coming out from Donald, it's just not gonna be enough to sustain the Chiefs any longer, and Zero Tenacity will eviscerate them, evict them from the point, and claim first cap.
Yeah, an amazing change-up coming through from them, but it looks like the Chiefs are changing up immediately as well, playing Beast Node into the Hulk. Reno on the Wolverine. We've seen the fastball before, and it's going out again for the Chiefs right now. They can play it effectively here, and in combination with Jong back on the Elsa, definitely can make great use out of the traps there. So eager to see how it's all going to go down now, as Donald in a bit of trouble gets collected and ejected from the game, as Zykrek good with the Raging Royal Flush, though, looking to rush their way forward into the fray. Enson coming out from Jerry as well, looking for the next target here, and they will be looking to lock it down. Zykrek in trouble, but will not be taken away. So Z10 just doing whatever they can to hold on to control of the mission area here.
They do a good job of kiting out that Raging Royal Flush, though, and then Jerry just hangs over like a sword of Damocles with that Endsong Inferno. And I mean, the Chiefs, once that ultimate expires, are a little bit too afraid, so they have to give up all of the ground they worked for. Last stand now from Exy is going to bring Donald right back down to that very same ground. And as Wendy taking down Bubble, it looks like it is all over for the Chiefs. Zero Tenacity off that CYA from Wendy are just charging forward and forcing the Chiefs back into their spawn by hook or by crook.
One or the other, they got to get the job done here. And Z10 are ready to do exactly what they need, no matter what the Chiefs are bringing to them here. That Raging Royal Flush is coming out. Last stand are going to be online from Reno. Nobody going to be going down, though. Banhammer coming out as well. It's time to go Hulk mode for Beast Node, and the Banhammer now going to be exchanged on Beck. First one to fall there. Good targeting from Jerry here, and they're not even done. Hulk Smash coming around the back, beats the Abyss. Bubble good with the CYA, though, but they're trying their best to take Jerry out of play. They will succeed. Creative going down with them. The Chiefs now having a resurgence onto this one. Looking to jump straight onto the mission area here, and now looking to shift focus. Creative, though, going to be the main focus as they're back online with a BFB there, and looking to see what else they can achieve into this OT segment.
And 99%, and like you said, OT ticking over. Donald, though, going in with the katanas, trying to cut someone down to ribbons, and will bust out the deagles and pop a cap right in between Jerry's eyes. And that's going to be a good early frag there as the flip will now come for the Chiefs. But the fight not quite over as Jongvek going to take down Soko, as Soko was taken for a ride. But this one goes straight back to your spawn door, my friend.
Yeah, straight back to the drawing board and ready to draw the sword here as Jongvek is holding it from afar right now. They need to hold position as long as they possibly can, but this gives Z10 a ton of time to try and charge themselves up here. They've already got the CYA and the end song. They can get the Raging Royal Flush out and look to see if they can enable themselves further. Reno in deep trouble, though. Luckily, he has the overshield there. They can escape that fight. Might not escape in a second, though. Feral Leap from afar. Jongvek forced out of the end song, burning down the CYA there, and looking to see if they make some big plays around town as well. Beast Node already implodes upon Soko. Jerry going to be followed up as well here, but they're not done. It's the follow-up from XC. They will go down with a chip, however, so the Chiefs going to be good to have a huge response onto this one as Z10 are sent back to the spawn point.
And here's the problem, though. In that fight, you saw both the Phoenixes pop their end song Inferno. For Jongvek, it was to burst down Wendy's CYA. Well, now Bubble is going to have one, and you look at Jerry. He is going to be regretting using that ultimate because now you don't have the tool to burst down the very same. So the Chiefs can just use that as a defensive utility to be able to withstand Creative's ultimate here, and they got to watch behind them because Beast Node has got a fastball loaded in the chamber. He is going to send Reno right down at an unsuspecting Zero to Nasty member, but here comes that Royal Flush, and just like I said, there's the CYA, and now all attention has to be focused on that amplifier. They will get a shot down onto Reno, shutting him down as Beast Node going to let the Worldbreaker Hulk come out, but is it going to be enough as now another member falls? BRB's burned on both sides, but Jongvek taking down Jerry. Reno taking Marvel for a ride, but he gets turned around. XC pulls the Uno reverse card. Reno able to come back onto Terra Firma, and now Bubble gonna be the one to try and make the teleport play. He's gotta come on through, but Soko taking down Donald and Zero Tenacity are starting to wrestle away with this one. He's keeping the deagles flying, keeping the shots going as the reinforcements from the Chiefs are gonna be coming. The Bubble to try and cut Bubble off, and now XC with the last stand catches onto two. Can he confirm the elims? He can. He'll take them both down. A double KO for him, and the Chiefs now on death's door. De-hulked Hulk, Beast Node now down in puny banner form. XC just gonna cut Donald down, and it seems like the Chiefs may be evicted from this one. We might be going 1-1. Beast Node now on the Angela, managed to get through the portal, getting a little bit more of congestion through. The flip comes through, and there's not a whole lot of time left for the Chiefs to try and get back on the point here. Soko gonna try and deny them, not let anyone through. Reno tries to dive in the Feral Leap, but it's just skeet shooting for Soko. And now a CYA as well. The Chiefs still trying to buy their way into this one, but they might have just gone bust. Zero Tenacity will walk away with Stellar Spaceport.
Oh my days. We'll be able to take control and flip the script back here. One capture point apiece. It goes down to Warrior Falls now for the final stand here on Domination. Which team stays, which team goes into the beginning of this series. All going to be dictated by this final capture point here. And you can see both teams are fired up as ever.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, so fired up like Jongvek. I guess because he made the swap over onto the rocket, you're okay with him burning the BRB or the CYA at the end of that fight, and now Bubble only going to be 32% to his. It's still a bit of an awkward exit from that second point for the Chiefs, and they're not really carrying a whole lot of momentum on over into this next point here. The one thing that I do think you're going to keep a close eye on is, again, going to be the CYA versus that Raging Royal Flush. Zycrick already having the Royal Flush. Zero Tenacity, I think, need to scout out that he was able to get that much work done. That ultimate's going to be online, and use this CYA from Wendy defensively, just as the Chiefs did prior.
Yeah, they need to match that energy and exceed it here. And see who's going to be able to pump up the volume early into this one. Jerry on the Punisher, I think, is going to be a big difference maker for Z10, especially with that final judgment already close to being charged up there. They can make some big waves with that one, but Donald now does have the Devil Beast Rampage at the ready. They're going to be furthering that with the Rage Roar Flush here. CYA was popped in response there from Z10, but it might not be enough into this one. Xe already getting a lot of focus. Does go down. Back for the VRB in a second, though, so it's not all over and out. Jerry, though, going to be out of here, and the Chiefs take control of the early fight and will get the capture.
Yeah, but again, like, the Chiefs did use a fair few ultimates in order to get that one, and Zero Tenacity only used that CYA defensively, but, I mean, even that isn't going to be enough to, you know, withstand all that the Chiefs come through. You know, the Devil Beast Rampage, so much AoE damage, Reno with the Last Stand as well, and then you have all of that stacked on top of Zykrik's Rage and Royal Flush. It's just real difficult to be able to burst on through that, but they do come out the other side with a couple of ultimates, a Royal Flush of their own. Once again, we get that head-to-head. This time, flip the script. It's Creative versus Bubble. Jerry's gonna have the final judgment, though, and that might be able to burst right on through all of that overshield.
It could have burned through everything here with the Rage and Royal Flush as well. Everything is coming out of this one. Jerry doing the best they can to enable it, but it's Creative getting all the KOs to their name this time. Looks like the final judgment, just cosmetic. It's Creative time, and Circo will follow it up. So the Chiefs are looking to concede this one as Bubble jumps off the map there, just trying to regroup, reset, and see if they can get it done again in the next one.
I think the interesting thing, though, is that, you know, Zero Tenacity popped the final judgment first, and then they popped the Rage and Royal Flush, and I think that gives the Chiefs just a moment of pause, and Bubble doesn't invest that CYA, instead choosing to carry it on over into the next fight. I think that final judgment might have been a signal flare that, okay, the CYA wouldn't actually help us, so we just kind of have to GG go next and play for this next fight. So now they can carry it on over. Donald going in on a flank there, turning around trying to deal with Marvel, who looks to catch him off, but right now, it's looking like the Chiefs are getting the better of this fight as Beast Node gets a D-Hulk there. There's the CYA coming out, but Xe burns it down and torches Reno and Beast Node in their ashen wake. And now it's going to be Zero Tenacity getting full control of this fight and maintaining control over the point as one last parting shot, a quad for Xe, and give him the penta. He'll find it. Donald cannot escape Xe's wrath. No mere man could ever hope to escape.
Just absolute devastation coming down from Xe right now. There's a reason that Xe is one of the most fearsome duelists across Pacific, and they are commanding respect right now from near or far. Xe leaves a nasty scar here, and they're ready for the next fight ahead as they now push past the 80% mark. The Chiefs set their sights to try and contest onto this one, but they're going to have a hell of a fight ahead of them because Z10 are ready for anything. They've already shot down Reno, but Reno's going to be right back with the BRB here and ready for the next statement to be made. Who goes first onto this one? Is it the CYA? Is it something else entirely as they now pop and drop?
CYA versus CYA, or CYA versus Rage and Royal Flush, but it's going to be the Ansong Inferno to burn down Wendy's CYA, so that one goes awry, but not enough value gained off of that Royal Flush. Now, you would have liked to see some KOs coming through for the Chiefs, but they just don't. A late let the devil out from Reno, but Soko, now with the Royal Flush of his own, is going in with the katanas, and he has cut your backline clean in half, but the flip comes through. The Chiefs now in control. They look to wrestle this one away as Reno comes in from the top rope and just pummels Xe with those billy clubs, just battering him. Now Xe up on the high ground, though, off of the res. He got the high ground. Joke's on you. You thought you struck me down, but I'm more powerful than you could have ever imagined.
And they will be looking to get the TP through from Zykrek as well. One last moment, one last stand here, and the Chiefs will be back on lock. Beast Node in a bit of trouble. Does pop through the portal for a bit of healing here, but again, Xe just being unchecked right now, pushing out so much damage. Bubble in trouble as well. Circo allowing them no quarter, no space here as they continue to lay waste to everything the Chiefs bring to them. And Z10 take it away in a full reversal. Map 1 is theirs.
And I think they figured it out, right? Imperial Institute of Science, that was a wake-up call. That was the last straw for Jerry on some of these flex duelists. You instead want to get him on a hit scan because he's great when it comes to those. And then you just go for a double hit scan look, you know, Punisher and Phoenix, and then both of them get to frag out. And that's what this team was missing. If they can keep that up for 2 more maps throughout this series, they can ensure themselves another life and cut the Chiefs short. But on this map, I mean, Xe, a very well-deserved MVP. How many final hits has he had this time around? 18. off of a 28-7 KD. Like, he's just something special. Like, he's something that the world has got to see, and I need to see this team on a world stage so everyone can see just how good Xe is. He's one of the best in the world.
Yeah, without a doubt, Xe is an incredible player, a reason that they are one of the stars for Z10 into this one, and I gotta admire the flexibility that was put on full showcase from Z10 into that one, you know? We saw Xe look to bounce around the melee-based duelist role for a little bit there when they played into the Wolverine. Jerry playing into a bit more of a flexible position as well, you know, bouncing back towards that hit scan type role. So I think that the adaptations coming through from there really enabled them to just do a much better job than what they came into this with initially.
Yeah, and the execution was just so much better once they made those adjustments. And, you know, again, you just can't, you gotta have hands when it comes to a lot of these flex duelists. Like, you can't just go in with a Daredevil and get free value anymore. You have to be just, you gotta be him. And I'm sorry, but Jerry on that hero is just not him. But you give him the Phoenix and he will run away with it. You give him that Punisher, you've got money right there. You just, I think, need to change your look and invest more in some of these double hit scan looks and get Jerry on some of these heroes that I think come a little bit more naturally to him, because I know him as an aim god, and he is pretty good when it comes to a lot of these aim-based heroes. And, you know, he could potentially be right up there with Xe when it comes to some of these hit scan heroes. But I think the problem, again, it's just a flex duelist, you know? So I think you just need to leave that in the rear view. But map 1 is going to be in the rear view, and it's going to be all eyes forward for map number 2 as this series just looks to heat up. Chat, don't go anywhere. We're going to cut to a quick break, and we got map number 2 right on the other side.
Lights out. Get in here, y'all. Us against the world.
Well, Zero Tenacity got map 1, but let me tell you, I'm not entirely convinced that they can still take the series. Now, I know, after the intensity we just saw on Burn and T'Challa, why would I possibly say that? Well, if you look at the bracket, it's been nothing but 3-0s across the board. That tells me each time the first team that wins the first map usually wins the series, right? But the one time that wasn't the case, it was Zero Tenacity taking the domination map, the first map, off of XO.
You're on some Pepe Silva business right now. Like, you've got the
Yes,
like the,
who
the
is
core
Pepe Silva? Who is he? Where's the mail? Where does the mail come from?
3-0s, which means, of course, that all of these teams, they'll take the
XO.
series. But it wasn't this time.
But XO went for a reverse sweep back. They were the ones that sent Zero Tenacity down to the lower bracket. The big question is it going to happen again? I sure hope not.
I hope not as well, because again, I want to see, Zero Tenacity rise up and live up to their potential. And I think on that first map, they found something that worked for them. But there's also, a caveat to that, and it's that they found that in the first map, and there is now time for the Chiefs to adjust. And every map that the Chiefs take off of Zero Tenacity gives them even more time to scout it out. So if this goes long, maybe you find a way to force Jerry back into that uncomfortable situation where he's got to play the Daredevil.
Really? You think he's going to return back onto the Daredevil? You were saying before the break
Not-
how great
Not because
he was on his scan.
not because I want him to, but because the Chiefs, like, either through the ban phase are gonna make it so there's only so many hit scans available, or through just the way that they play, they pressure him out and force him to make that adaptation again. Like, again, I think Flex Duelist is a weakness for this Zero Tenacity roster, and I think that if the Chiefs identify that and can force him to try and make the best of that bad situation, well, if it's a bad situation, the Chiefs can make the best of it, and they can run away with the series.
And it's been a pain mark for Zero Tenacity. Like you said, the flexibility of the duelists, as flexible as it can be, only on the hit scan front. Jerry has been a weak link in playoffs, and Xe has been shining, but Jerry, if he's not on hit scan, it's been rough. Matsy, is this going to be the target focus once again? Maybe not Xe, because he's just been excelling on whatever, but making just Jerry unable to do anything of his own accord in the next map? Is that the key to victory?
I think it definitely can be a pain point for them, and we've seen how the Chiefs are able to collect up some KOs, especially when they utilize Beast Node in order to just press in with that Assassin's Charge there, and it really enabled their team to just start to get the ball rolling from there. But I'm not sure if they're necessarily going to be just solely focusing down Jerry. Because we saw the impact of what Xe was able to do, they might put focus there first, or towards Z10's strategist lineup before they start to really enable that domino effect.
Interesting. We really haven't talked about the strategist line for ZT. It's been very effective all throughout playoffs, but because the duelists have been such a prime moniker of what Zero Tenacity's been able to accomplish, we've been focusing on them so much. Maybe you're onto something.
I kind of want to shift gears a little bit here, because as much as I love talking about Zero Tenacity, and I could talk about them all day, I do kind of feel like, we're doing the Chiefs a disservice, as it's their map pick, and we got to talk a little bit about them as well. Lower Manhattan is where they're going to be taking us to, and, you want to talk about the strategist lineup for Zero Tenacity. I think that when it comes to strategist lineups, it's kind of equal, to be completely honest with you. Like, I think, I think Bubble and Zykrek are playing pretty much one-to-one for what you're seeing out of Wendy and Creative, and a lot of these times we're seeing these ultimates being traded out, CYAs in lockstep with the enemy Raging Royal Flush, and vice versa.
Okay, so Lower Manhattan, the way to go. Once again, we are moments away until we get to the picks and bans. The Chiefs, this is their time to potentially shine. They're going to have to find a way to make this 1-to-1, but if Zero Tenacity take this, I think the momentum will truly be in their favor. We have yet to see a 3-2 or anything beyond a 4-game matchup in the entirety of playoffs. I want a long day. I do not want to sleep tonight. And it's up to Zero Tenacity and the Chiefs to do that. CB, Lower Manhattan, can this be Chiefs game?
I think it does play very well into the front-to-back style that I think the Chiefs have excelled at, but, I do also think that Zero Tenacity can make that work for them quite well, and I think, that might end up kind of being a bad map pick, because, again, it does open up the door for Xe and Jerry to just go into that double hit scan. You could just play for a long-range poke when it comes to Zero Tenacity on the defensive side.
We saw Sung Jung Woo and Spider-Man. I think we could pretty much see anything here.
Good. I don't know if we got any Spidey players. I've seen Jerry on Spider-Man a couple of times, and let me tell you, I don't want to see it today. There's a time and a place, and now is neither.
We're putting that back in a box, all right? We're not going to be letting that one out. Maybe let the devil out. We're going to leave the Spidey away. Leave the Spider-Man in Australia, all right?
we think the Daredevil might make an appearance, Patsy?
Yeah, I think it definitely can find its value, especially with Reno playing into the mix there. That is one of the staple heroes that we've seen Reno shine on, so it wouldn't surprise me if they do bring that one out. We did see a lot of success from them on Wolverine when they were against Triple AD on this very map, though. So we could see them put focus into that direction, but as you've seen with the Chiefs so far, they seem to be a very adaptive team, a very shifting gears team, depending on what's presented to them. So we can see many different styles kind of showcased in this one.
Yeah, and again, especially once that map opens up, when you get past point A and things start to become a little bit more dynamic, a lot more of those like dive duelists can become a little bit more prevalent. But As we go through the picks and the ban phase, we're going to start things off pretty similarly, but I think the bans are going to be a little bit different from what we saw in Burn Into T'Challa, and a map like Lower Manhattan necessitates some of those adaptations.
Yeah, it will be able to necessitate all of the above, and we are going to be seeing a similar draft so far. Mantis is out of here, Rogue and Gambit. Going to be seeing Rogue gone, Gambit staying on both sides this time though, so curious what the next ban could be. It's Rogue again, so just full mirror matchup this time around.
And I imagine it's going to stay that way today. Again, these teams don't want to take too many risks early on in the draft phase. A Cyclops ban, though, coming out from the Chiefs, and they're actually going to protect it as well. Go for a one-sided one, I guess, setting up Jongbek for success, and at the same time robbing Xe of one of his best tools. And I think that's a little bit interesting because there's still other hit scans that Xe can be just as lethal on. I don't think you can really try and target ban the Cyclops because he'll diff you on the Phoenix. Like, that's just kind of how it goes.
You have to stop them from
Oh,
stealing
yeah.
the mission area.
It's just so many options available to them, right? They can just do so much with it. But speaking of what they can't do, the Chiefs can't play into the Wolverine this time. So Z10 clearly doing their homework there, having the single-sided Wolverine. It could be a big difference maker for them. Very curious how it's all going to go down, though, because without the Groot for Z10 here, this might stifle them on their own defensive segment.
Yeah, but as they take the approach on the attacking side, they're definitely going to be making the most of Xe on that Wolverine. And Marvel, interestingly, on the Hulk, and he is looking to try and find someone he can get a good clap on, and maybe even trying to set up a fastball. No, he just goes in for the bubble and then jumps right on top of Reno, forcing him back. The Chiefs are on this triple look with the Adam Warlock, and you got to try and make something happen before that God of Mischief comes up, because that's the first res, and then you got to worry about the second one. And so far, Zero Tenacity have been hesitant to do more than just dip their toes in the water.
Yeah, they're having to try and establish early pressure here. CYA coming up, though, could be the first good pain point from them, as the Chiefs aren't really able to match it. Oh, good collection from Xe there. Feral Leaf scoops up Reno, and now looking to see if they can get a more flowing in their favor. Marble good in the Hulk smash form as well. Karmic Revival going to be brought out from Bubble, though. Luckily brings back their teammates. Will go down with the ship, though, just when they are trying to contest this one. And looking to see what else they can do. It's the final judgment coming out from Jerry there. Jongbek not going to be able to stay on the line here. Soko getting close to a meteor as well if required, but they aren't even going to need it. Reno good with the portal, though, just at the last second here. Will at least be able to get back onto the mission area to contest with this one. A bubble going to be going down again, though. Xe good with the last stand there. Double KO flowing forward and looking to stop the show in its tracks here. Zycreek was good for a minute, but the Feral Leaf gonna lock in the Xe triple ripple there. And Z10 still fighting through. Donald somehow staying on that mission area, but not for long. It's time for the convoy segment.
And it's such a good look from Zero Tenacity. Again, I'm loving seeing Xe on this Punisher, or sorry, Xe on this Wolverine. He's looked pretty solid on it, and Jerry on this Punisher. I think this is, where your bread is buttered, at least for this series. Maybe you have to adapt if you win this one and go on to the next round, but let's focus on what's in front of us, and that is the Chiefs making a couple of composition swaps because they can't hold the high ground with that triple. They don't have any good chokes on this second point, so they're going to abandon the Adam Warlock bubble, going to stay onto the Loki, and now they're playing for the double flush as Reno going to be on the Elsa, and I think up against this Hulk, you're kind of thinking we need something anti-dive in order to be able to live through this, but now as the Raging Royal Flush comes out from Creative, beating the Chiefs to the punch, there's not going to be any punches coming from the side of Z10. A Meteor M from Soko to dodge that Psionic Seduction, and he'll dunk that right on top of Jongbek. Even still, throughout all of the defensive utility from the Chiefs, Soko will still find his pound of flesh.
Yeah, still going to be able to find exactly what they were hoping for through it there. Reno does have the Apex Predator at the ready now as well. CYA coming up from Wendy, though, to go first. Here we go. Glutrox out. Huge damage. And you're going to see your Vanguards going down here. The Chiefs able to respond in a big way when it mattered there. And Z10 already on the retreat here. They know the battle's lost, and they will be looking to re-engage later. Wendy almost going to be caught out as well. Jerry the same. Luckily, they do get out when it counted. Reno ain't giving up, though. They're still taking it straight to them, so really trying to stall them out from regrouping here. But Jongbek, again, has been caught out.
And Reno's feeling himself, and that it does create an opening for Jerry to hit that shot there onto Jongbek. Beast Node gets caught out, pulled in, went for the Strangling Prison, but it doesn't even matter. There's going to be a Raging Royal Flush that comes out from the Chiefs, but Zero Tenacity, they don't even care. They're just going to push right into it. Xe now on the angle, finding the shots, and pressuring the back line. Good diamond shield coming out from the side of the Chiefs. Donald trying to mitigate some of the damage, but there's still so much coming their way that they just can't sit comfortably. And as Xe now takes to the high ground, it's going to get so much more oppressive on this approach here. Another Royal Flush is going to be online from Zykrek, and he is channeling it, looking for the opportunity. Going to pull the trigger down. The Chiefs going to erupt out from this choke, and Zero Tenacity going to back up, give a little bit of ground, try to absorb it, pop one of their own, and with an Endsong Inferno, Xe goes deep. Creative taking the duel with, he finds Reno. How does he find Reno? Reno wasn't even in the same zip code as Creative, and somehow he falls. He'll win the duel with Beast Note as well, so a lethal backliner here is going to secure this second point here for Zero Tenacity.
Yeah, going to be a huge impact being made there, and it's Creative stacking up the stats there. Triple KO to their name, and ready to take aim at even more. Z10 on the home stretch here. The Chiefs left pondering. What else can they do here? They do have the Apex Predator at the ready if required, but not going to be able to bring much more on a line here. Z10, they're close to the CYA. They have Sonic Seduction, Heaven's Retribution, everything they could possibly want. CYA going to be forced out. Jerry going to be the first one to fall. We'll be back with the BRB though. Soko good with the Sonic Seduction. Causes a vacuum effect. The KOs here for Z10, and they send Chiefs all the way back to spawn.
That might have been the most seductive Emma Frost I've ever seen. I think Soko caught onto everybody, and at close distance, everybody locked down. There wasn't a damn thing the Chiefs could do to be able to stop the pain that would soon follow. And Zero Tenacity keeping this cart a rolling. They still got a ways to go, and as they hold forward, they're trying to avoid any environmental potential on this very treacherous bridge. They don't want to get booped off by Bubble or, you know, potentially Glartroxed off by Reno when he builds back up to that ultimate. So Xe now going to take another high ground angle if he can. Thinks better of it, and instead just going to go from the low ground and peek over at the back line. Can't finish off Jongbek, but will still make him fear for his life.
Oh, and more fear will be coming out from Marble right now. Heaven's Retribution goes down with a boundary there. Xe dealing damage from a distance again. Does have the end song if needed. Marble looking to support Xe as well, and will catch Reno off guard. Creative going to be traded out though. Marble good with the Assassin's Charge there, trying their best to collect Donald onto this one. They are struggling, but they will be able to get Resurgence onto this one. So the Chiefs hold their ground for the moment. Z10 forced to consider their options for a little bit longer. If they just charge up a moment sooner, they can re-engage with CYA or the Rage Royal Flush here, and that could be moments away, CB.
Yeah, but a lot of ults and a spawn advantage online for the Chiefs. In that last engagement, Zero Tenacity just struggled to close it out. They get a couple of early picks, but they just can't seem to finish their meal. Now the Royal Flush is going to come out, but Zykrek is happy to mirror it. And there's also a Strangling Prison and a Meteor M. Everything being drained out from the Chiefs, and they will be rewarded for their efforts as Reno is going to find a double. Creative will be res back up with the BRB, but as he comes back around to the battleground, he'll find nothing but death, destruction, and desolation, as he'll be forced to come back to the rest of his team, and Zero Tenacity going to have to take another mulligan.
And they do have the Sonic Seduction coming out very soon. The only thing to really stop them here would be the Apex Predator from Reno, or maybe the Boundary if Bubble can charge towards it quick enough. This is going to be problematic on both sides here. Somebody has to get ahead of this one, and it could be Xe right now, holding the off angle here from down under, trying their best to get some damage through the chains there.
You ain't going to get the better of the team from down under from that angle there, all right? The Chiefs, they got Aussie pride, and they are fighting for it with that life on the line. So there's going to be a wall coming out from Beast Note trying to catch somebody from Zero Tenacity off guard, but he's also got to keep an eye on that off angle from down under where Xe is still lurking, but now Jerry up on the high ground with the Elza goes in, taking down Bubble, and there's not going to be an invisible boundary, and now Soko's Seduction will catch everybody onto the Chiefs once again. There's going to be one trade that comes out from Reno, but it just ain't enough because Jerry is now starting to cook, and Donald, he can try all he wants, but he will find himself painted up against the wall with a roundhouse kick from Soko, and as 10 seconds ticks down slowly but surely, the invisible boundary will now come out from Bubble, and that is the lifeline for the Chiefs, but Jerry with a Glartrox is going to carry them out and find a double, make it a triple. No triple. No triple coming through, my bad. I got a little bit ahead of myself. Creative, though, with that anti, down range is going to take down Bubble, and that should be enough for Zero Tenacity to push this the rest of the way, and the Chiefs will be shunted in a full cap coming through.
Yeah, full store composition coming out from the Chiefs in the end there, but even if you bring out the Daredevil and the Spidey, it just ain't enough to hold on to the end. So Z10 will be able to get it over the line with 0 seconds remaining there, so I've got to give props to the Chiefs for holding on to it as long as they did, but alas, they weren't able to stop them at the gate. Now, going to be the Chiefs moving on to their own attacking segment here. Do they hold on to a similar composition? Do they go for something entirely different here? If you saw them playing traditionally, maybe they look to go for the early portal play to get some combat on to the mission area, or they look to just stall it out, go in an entirely different direction here. They are looking to put focus onto Donald on the mag again, playing around the Groot here, so might not even be considering portals early and just saving that for a later battle.
You also saw Reno hovering over that Daredevil, and I think on the attacking side here, especially on this first point, the ability to see through walls even before the scans come through, that gives everybody the ability to see through walls, I think is going to be quite valuable for, I forgot the word valuable for a second. Been a rough morning. I'm a little bit sleepy, need a little bit more caffeine. Reno not actually going to come through with that Daredevil, though. Instead, just going to go for the Elsa, and I think, trying to front load the damage, burst down some of the things that the Chiefs are coming through, and I think that's it's a good decision, because, you're seeing Marvel setting up all of these different traps, anticipating portal plays potentially coming out, any angle that you could possibly strike from. There may or may not be mines, and, you come through with the Daredevil, you see through walls, you're not going to like what you see.
Yeah, you're going to see something truly terrifying, but see if they are going to be unshaken in the face of a fear, or they will have a fear stare them down and look within them to stop them in their tracks. As the fire already starts up here, Marvel and Co holding the line here, do have the mines at the ready, so can certainly shred up a lot of damage if the Chiefs try and get past the defensive ground here. They're already prepared for that, though, as they're looking to run it around the outside, taking on multiple lines of sight early and trying to shift focus in the defensive side.
And buying Jerry a lot of time to build up to that Karmic Revival, and buying Creative a lot of time to build up to the very same. So it's definitely going to be the long game from Zero Tenacity, making the Chiefs have to worry about every inch that they step forward. Worry about if they're going to step on a literal landmine here. And as the Spider's Nest gets moved back down onto the point, it's at a pretty difficult angle. Okay, maybe never mind. I was going to say it's a difficult angle to shoot, but if you put a Groot wall underneath it, it just automatically breaks it. So Marvel's gonna have to put it down again and try his best to protect it and make the point treacherous, but as the CYA now gonna come out from the Chiefs, it's gonna force out the regen domain as well as the soul bond from Jerry, but he'll be able to strike Reno down on the approach here. A tick and a half for the Chiefs, and they'll be able to take down Creative, and no res gonna be coming through for him. Now 2 ticks, and Zero Tenacity have to try and fight their way back into this one. They've got a couple of bolts coming online, but they're gonna have to use them now or never.
Now or never, make it count, or gonna be drowned out as the Chiefs now look to heap their way ahead. Xe good with the Galactic Snow, triple delivery. They will find a couple of KOs across them with more to follow from Soko here. Bubble taken down for the triple here from Soko, and the show must go on for Z10. Just when you think the Chiefs are able to get it over the line, no, they are stopped in their tracks.
Yep, and now those tracks are going to be even more treacherous as Zero Tenacity going to be back to full strength. Marvel can lay out more of the mines, and then even more with the Spider Sweeper as it's going to come online. And now Jerry's got that Karmic Revival, Creative coming up to a God of Mischief. Just about every ultimate you could possibly ask for, and then some, is going to be online for Zero Tenacity. So now the win conditions for the Chief. First of all, don't lose Reno on the engage. Already failed on that one, but we still got time to retake that one. But they're going to need to deal with potentially 2 Adam Warlock reses, try and suss out the positions of every single backliner and snuff them out. And their composition just isn't tailored to that particular task.
Yeah, they're just not able to find that breaking point there. They're going to be held at a bay for the moment. Marvel also doing the best they can to cut off other lines of sight. Soko good with Sonic Seduction there. Cut off by the wall for a second, but it can only take them so long. Tracking the prison coming out, though. Shuts down Xe. Great start. Coming Revival going to be popped in response, though. Xe brought straight back as soon as they go down. And Zycreek now bringing out the CYA here, ready to play the Ruby Rage. They engage, and they will find Devastation, but the Comic Revival brings them all the way back again. Spider Sweep coming through. Sonic Seduction on lock as well. Bubble ready with the God of Mischief as well. See what they could replicate into this one. Jongvek commanding respect around the outside. Yeah, Boundary now going to be popped. CYA coming up from Bubble as well. Somebody has to go down here. Donald will be the one, but they're brought back by the BRB onto this one. Carbon Crush from Soko, trying their best to burn him out. Jongvek going to be out of town. The Latrox coming through as well from Reno. Creative good with the God of Mischief onto the Comic Revival. Just when you think they're going down, they're back again. This team is unstoppable here, CB.
Yes, but what about second Karmic Revival? It is time, and Zero Tenacity are having their second dinner here. Again, the Spider's Nest being laid out by Marvel. The red carpet practically rolled out, inviting the Chiefs to come and step into his domain, littered with landmines all across the point. The Chiefs, no ultimates, no tools, but they've finally burned through all of the reses and all of the second chances for Zero Tenacity. Can they stick the landing? 3 seconds left. They got to get someone on point to get overtime taking over. Indeed, they will. But Marvel now moving over onto an off angle, throwing down more mines, making this choke all the more dangerous to try and walk through. Snares bubble, forces out the regen domain, and that's an early utility that you're relying on for the Chiefs. Already gone. The Glartrox from Xe comes in, claims 2. He's not going to be able to confirm those KOs, though. The Chiefs able to hold strong for the time being, taking down a couple of these clones from Jongbek. Up on the angle there, but as the amplifier coming up from Zykrek, the damage needs to be good, but Soko again with the Sonic Seduction, locking so many members of the Chiefs down. The Strangling Prison comes through, but it just doesn't matter because Jerry has got another Karmic Revival. He's rezzing Soko back up. He's got Marvel as well, and it's a near team wipe, but it doesn't matter because Jerry is going to bring them all back. But he breaks them back off the cart, and the Chiefs will finally break on through to the other side and unlock point B.
Oh my goodness, the fight ensues so long, we get a triple Karmic Revival throughout the duration there, CB. That is absolutely insane. And Jongbek will be able to drown out the main source there. As Jerry goes down, we'll hit the switch up onto the Phoenix now. So, the composition are going in a whole other direction for Z10, as they will lose that first point in contention, but they did a hell of a job to hold it as long as they did.
And it's gonna be a hell of a mountain to climb now, as they only have 1:45 in the time bank to get this shield Mobile the rest of the way to point B, and Zero Tenacity are willing to fight for this high ground. Reno with a Glartrox trying to cart some of them off of it, maybe claim a KO, but I mean, that ult just goes awry. It's down the drain. You don't really get anything for it, and the Chiefs on this kind of awkward, attacking composition may have to make some swaps so they can't stick the landing here. God of Mischief now going to come out from Bubble. They need to try and make something out of this CYA, but he's not popping it. He's really making us all wait for it, but Jongbek is very impatient. He is not going to wait. He's going to take Xe down and deny the BRB from coming out, and there is that CYA. It's mirrored by Wendy, and that'll absorb the lion's share of the damage that comes out from Jongbek's Ruby Rage, but the card is inching further and further forward, and it seems like the Chiefs have maybe done enough as we get a little bit of a rocket duel there. Wendy had no interest in taking it, but it doesn't matter because Zykrek, he wanted his man and he will got it. And so many low health bars coming on through, and Donald is just going to be eating them up for lunch. One by one, Zero Tenacity fall, and sooner or later, the Chiefs will find that cap.
So many points of double trouble there, and they will be able to get it over the line. So, on the home stretch here, the Chiefs have to do the most in order to match a Z10 and push it through to a potential OT segment. But they have so much to worry about because Z10 are charging up so many critical pieces here. Heaven's Retribution going to be huge. Sonic Seduction, there's so much that they can put to work here. The Chiefs, they've got the Strangling Prison, maybe the CYA into the Glartrox. There's a lot they can do, but they've already disengaged Marvel there. Huge Carbon Crush! Donald might be able to go first onto this one. They're trying to block out the Sonic Seduction from Soko here. The walls are stalling it out in a big way, and so they avoid all lines of sight, basically nullifying that ultimate.
Zero Tenacity, they're gonna have to back up. Gonna be CYA coming out though, but Donald being taken for a ride by Xe, sky high, and dropped down to the watery depths. And that is gonna be one man down, and even with that CYA, without Donald there, they just can't engage. So the Chiefs are gonna have to tuck their tail between their legs, scurry away, and Zero Tenacity reclaim the point.
Reclaim and get back on track here. Just over a minute to go into this one. Both teams need to do everything within their power to further enable themselves onto this. Soko holding the front line here, has spotted out Reno, needs to calm that information through. Wendy gonna go first with the CYA though. The Chiefs, how are they gonna respond to this? Maybe not. Last Stand coming out. Xe getting nothing. Strangling Prison gonna lock down a Marvel in place, and now looking to see if they can clear some further space off this one. They got the God of Mischief at the ready, and it's the Raging Royal Flush to rush ahead, try their best to disengage Z10, and they will find Soko back with the BRB though, so it doesn't even matter, but they're still trying to scatter. They find Soko again, and now looking to further disengage them here. Shot out Xe, try and take Beast Note to spawn there. The Glartrox comes out just at the last second though, but they're still fighting. Xe ready to go for the Feral Leaf here, ready to go for anything. They catch Donald, Ruby Rage ready to engage here, and they will not get any value. Xe ready as ever, trying to stop them. It's a Beast Node portal. One last fight, CB.
3 seconds left. Overtime is inevitable, and the Chiefs have to make the most of it. They're coming up with 2 big ultimates, the CYA and the dunk, potentially. We need to see LeBronald now. Exy can't get the fair leap onto Beast Node off the map. Donald gets cut down by Creative. The CYA still coming out, though. Even without that Meteor M, the Chiefs gonna have to make the most of the opportunities given because they will not be given another one on this map. And Zero Tenacity are inching closer and closer, forcing the Chiefs back, and the CYA is gonna force them even further back, and Beast Node gets carried off the cart by Exy. You didn't even need to find the elims, you just needed to take him to a secondary location. And there's only one location left that the Chiefs can take us before they will find themselves sent home.
Oh my goodness. Just like that. Z10 a sweep away victory with the feral leap there, scooping Beast Node away and taking it away right on the edge of what could have been an OT. Zoko going to be taking away a very well-deserved MVP onto that one. The way that they navigated on that Emma Frost is something to be studied for the ages, as they did a great job maintaining the front line for their team.
And look at this scoreline from Zero Tenacity, all the stats across the board. You know, Exy and Jerry, 12 final hits apiece in perfect harmony. That's what you want to see. You know, you want to see, Exy again. We keep highlighting him as the star of this roster, but, Jerry is capable of playing up to that, and we get to see that on this map. And more than that, we also get to see Soko and Marvel finding value. This roster has so much talent, and they have so much potential, and they just haven't been able to live up to it. But if they keep this pace up, and if they keep this going, they have the potential to do so. And now they've got the potential to close out this series as they are on match point. The Chiefs, 1 map away from oblivion.
1 map away. Will they be able to turn it around? That is going to be fully tested here as Z10 have bringing everything they've got and more to the table here. The Chiefs doing a great job to respond to Lower Manhattan there, but even if they brought out almost everything they had, they got left behind right on the final line there. So going to have to really dig deep once again onto our potential final map here.
Yeah, it very well could be the final map of the series and of the Chiefs tournament. And, I guess that means we gotta kind of shift focus here, because we've talked a whole lot about Zero Tenacity. A lot of our narratives tonight have been centered around Zero Tenacity, but we gotta talk about the Chiefs a little bit more. They still have a salty taste in their mouth from yesterday. They felt like they could have gone deeper in that series with Reject if not for a couple of networking issues. Now there's no networking issues, and they're still trying to shake those cobwebs off, and they're playing phenomenally, but they're just getting outplayed in some of these key moments. They're taking Zero Tenacity to the distance in these maps, but just struggling to close them out. And Zero Tenacity, I mean, they've just hit their stride, and the Chiefs are still looking for a way to break that stride. And as we've said a couple of times now, they're going to have one last chance to break that stride, find one of their own, or they will be sent back down under where they came from. And we will see what happens in this series, as map number 3 is on the other side of this break. We'll be right back.
Lights out. Get in here, y'all. Us against the world.
Bro. I don't know what to say, man. Like, normally I write notes, like, about what to talk about. I have nothing. I was glued to the game. What's happening? Chiefs were so good about clutching up when it mattered most in the early stages of the playoffs. Matsy, they have one last attempt to be one of two of the OCE representation in playoffs here, and this could be their last chance.
Yeah, you know, we've seen, I guess, a little resurgence from them into that second map there. Obviously, the first one a little bit rougher, but Z10 had just managed to exceed them. And then again, you know, the Chiefs, they tried to do whatever they could there. They managed to get, like, that last moment portal through, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough to really keep them on lock there. Like, I liked how Beast Node was just treading the line there on the edge of that kind of control area over the mission vehicle, but unfortunately with no one there to just sustain them, they managed to get scooped off, and with that, their hopes into Mappa 2 went along with them. So it's tough, you know. I think both of these teams have a lot to play for here. I think that Z10 have really been activated since their loss since XOXO there, and I really think they're going to be trying to be gunning for that rematch.
And I also think, you know, to that end, I also think the map pick, you know, choosing Lower Manhattan might have been a potentially fatal misstep from the Chiefs, because I mean, Z10, they look so strong on that map, you know, and they're able to play, you know, they don't have to put Jerry on any of these dive duelists, so he can just play this kind of double hit scan look, which looks really good for Zero Tenacity, or they can put Xe on the Wolverine, and he has looked pretty solid on the Wolverine, and he gets that hero play, you know, like Matsu was just alluding to, carrying Beast Node off, and it just kind of, you know, shows that things are clicking for Zero Tenacity. It's just one domino falls after another. It's creative taking out Donald at the beginning of that fight. He's not there with the Meteor M. You're down an ultimate. The CYA then comes out from Zero Tenacity, and everybody has to back up, and Beast Node is the only one holding up that shield to try and hold the line, and that's just easy prey for a Wolverine.
Well, I mean, eyes up ahead right now. What's the expectation for the Chiefs to bring another map? They get to choose once again. They have their last choice. CB, you mentioned that Lower Manhattan could have been a fatal choice for them to choose into. What would the best outcome map choice for Chiefs be here to get themselves a map on the board?
I mean, it's tough, because I feel like, you know, any map that you could try to go to if you want to try and play something a little bit more divey, well, that's also kind of like, you know, the front to back is also kind of the Chiefs' greatest strength. So you can't really play to your strengths without giving some of your greatest strengths over to Zero Tenacity. I hope it's not Museum, but I don't know. These teams do be contemplating.
I like Museum. I think they could have some good stocks on that one. You know, there's a reason that they found that confidence against AAAD on Museum before, and it wouldn't surprise me if they want to play into that one again here, considering they have their own set of strengths there. But I mean, even if they have their own set of strengths, like what we saw from them on Lower Manhattan in the past, like Z10 were just able to just exceed them.
Would you say the issue for Chiefs right now is in the ban draft still, like we've seen with earlier teams, or is this more of like a macro micro play?
No, I think it is. I wouldn't even say like it's a macro micro play. I think it's just, you know, both of these teams really want to try and play the front to back compositions, and Zero Tenacity are being allowed to do so, both in the map picks and in the picks and bans, and you know, they're just better at it than the Chiefs, or at the very least they look better at it right now. I think a lot of the success that we've seen from the Chiefs against, you know, Reject previously was trying to set Reno up for these big hero plays, and you can't really do that if you're, you know, playing behind the 8 ball the whole time.
Okay, so it feels like Chiefs, for the most part, are playing a big game of catch-up at the same exact style of play. That hey, it's Museum!
They do be contemplating, though.
They are certainly contemplating, CB, but I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, you weren't a fan of the Museum choice.
Yeah, you know, I don't like it. I don't like this choice. I think this is gonna subject you to a lot of the same pitfalls as Lower Manhattan, where you're not forcing Jerry to play something uncomfortable, something he's shown to be weak on. You're allowing him to play basically whatever he wants, and you can put Xe on the Wolverine. Maybe a Wolverine ban might be necessitated, so you could force Xe onto something a little bit less comfortable, or maybe that's how you get Jerry through. But
are we gonna see another triple karmic revival?
I mean, maybe we might see that, or we might see, you know, the Punisher come back out, because that looks good for Jerry, or we might see, you know, Cyclops and Phoenix both coming out, and that is a scary thing to have to go up against if you're trying to play front to back. You are going to get poked out so far back that you won't even like be in the fight. You'll be trying to defend point B before point A has even been capped.
Well, we are moments away from potentially the final matchup for one of our OCE representations in the playoffs for PAC Asia Stage 1 Ignite. Chiefs, they have one last attempt to bring themselves, get a map on the board up against Zero Tenacity. Matsy, you were a fan of the Museum of Contemplation pick. Can this be a saving grace for one of our 2 representatives?
Absolutely. I think this can definitely be the saving grace there, but they need to lock in. They can't afford to suffer some of the same consequences that they've been faced with before. You know, Beast Node can't overcook onto the dive there if they're playing into something like your Venom. They need to play disciplined onto this one to try and bolster their defenses or offenses, depending on how they're playing into it. And they need to really try and disengage some of that Z10 potential, because on a map like Museum, I just see or foresee Xe just having a free farm from afar.
Well, do you hear that, Matsy? Do you hear what I hear? It is the sounds of all of Oceania rallying behind the Chiefs when they need it most. They are down 2-0, and they need a reverse sweep to stay alive in this tournament, or all of the hopes of the region will rest in Genji's hands. And I don't know, it's looking a little bit rough. I'm not a fan of the map pick. I need to see something different come out from the ban phase at the very least, and I gotta see, once we load into the lobby, a new look from the Chiefs. Now they are the ones that have to make an adaptation, and this is their last chance to make that adaptation.
One last chance, one last opportunity here to make things happen. And what's going to be happening right now? Our draft with Mantis gone and Gambit protected here for the Z10 side. We'll see what will be matched. It's going to be the Rogue taken out of play this time around. So not going to enable that team up, but one of the same, we could see something else taken on board. It's the Mirrored Gambit.
I mean, I think that's again, pretty bog standard, and especially for a map like Museum of Contemplation where you don't stray too far from the norm. So the first 3 picks and bans gonna be the same thing that we've seen all series long, and that's not good for a team that's down 2-0 and needs to try and make a change. You know, again, they're trying to play so deep into their own strengths that it just kind of becomes difficult for them to find anything. You know, they're going to go ahead and go for another ban out of the Cyclops. Sure. Like, it doesn't matter, because, again, Punisher is available. Phoenix is available. You know, Elsa is available. Wolverine is available and locked for the Chiefs. And, you know, I'm wondering if Zero Tenacity are going to mirror that particular protect, because Xe being able to flex over onto that Wolverine has given Jerry a lot of leeway.
Yeah, it gives them so much more freedom, right? Because Jerry's able to play more to their own strengths here. You know, they can play into the more of the hit scan type duelists here. See, really a lot more enabled for them. But towards the tail end of the draft here, there's not going to be any Cyclops. There won't be Star-Lord, or at least on one side either. But there's going to be no Groot as well. So we jump into the fray now. It's going to be Xe bringing out the Wolverine again. Jerry on to the Elsa. Almost the Punisher there. Doesn't mean we won't see that later, but the gate's already opened here, and Chiefs are looking to stand strong on their triple Vanguard defense.
Yeah, well, the regen domain has already been forced out from Bubble, and I think that's going to be a problem for the Chiefs. They're going to have to give some ground just as a result of that alone. Their next best defensive utility online right now is going to be Jongvek's Soul Bond, but is Zero Tenacity, they'll have that scouted out. They'll try and put out some pressure and force him to use that one, or better yet, they'll just cart Reno off, and he practically gets run over by the bus there, but it's no bus, it is Soko, and he hits just as hard, and he's going to keep on hitting, digging in deeper and deeper, and there's that Soul Bond coming out from the Chiefs, and now there is no regen domain, no Soul Bond, and you're down a Vanguard, and Xe is going to go in, and he'll be taking your other one.
Yeah, he'll be taking them all the way to the bank there, and we're going to see if they can capture a little bit or more from there. Z10 already bolster a lot of strength, and then some onto their attack. Special delivery. It's both your damn Vanguards. Bubble bringing them back with the Karmic Revival, though. Portal coming out from Beast Node as well. CYA coming into play from Wendy here, and they're ready to stack back up into the fight right now. Creative already capturing Donald, though, and we're going to see if they can get anyone else as well. Reno will fall. Everybody's down in your Vanguard. Vanguard lineup, and they send them absolutely packing past that first checkpoint. Z10, lock it down.
It's such a bad start for the Chiefs defense, right? Like, they have to use the portal, they have to use the Karmic Revival, and they get nothing. 5 minutes of the time bank for Zero Tenacity, and they only really have to use that Galartrox and that CYA to get the job done. They just brute force it, they keep punching, and the Chiefs just have to keep absorbing it. Swap's now going to come through on something a little bit more standard, a double flush composition now for the Chiefs, but still sticking with this Emma and this Groot, trying to front load the front line and help keep them alive. Reno on the Wolverine might be able to get something done, but, you know, Hulk and Magneto, not the most diveable of Vanguards, not the most kidnappable, as it were. You know, they try to lock Marvel down, but he's able to just jump right on out with this World Breaker Hulk and collapse Donald from afar. And as the Royal Flush comes out from Creative, that damage is going to be too much to withstand. The Chiefs going to have to give even more ground, and Z10 already around this first corner.
Yeah, they managed to have free reign over the push at the moment, and looks like it won't be stopping any time soon, as the Chiefs are forced to just hold back and regroup onto this one. At least going to be playing around the walls for now, but it's Donald now starting strong with the Sonic Seduction here. He'll be able to disengage the lines of sight, and then maybe more than that. As the Strangling Prison comes through there, they're locked in place. Soko responding in a big way with the Meteor, though. Could scoop up a KO, not today, though. So the Chiefs at least managed to bounce back off this one. But Jerry's brought right back into play with the BRB there, and they're on the edge of a final judgment here. Maybe won't get to use it just yet, though, as they get caught in the sky, swatted down.
It's so satisfying seeing these Elsa shots coming through as she's just zipping around through the air with the dashes and hits a shot. And there's a Galartrox to Soko, just puts it between a rock and a hard place, or I guess between a Galartrox and a Groot wall. And that is going to be a fate worse than death, or I guess it'll amount to death nevertheless. But the Chiefs have finally gotten their feet up beneath them, but they got to hold for 3 more minutes, and the ults are starting to come online again for Zero Tenacity. And, you know, we've seen what Z10 has been able to do even without the ultimates. Now as they start to come online, CYA and Final Judgment, you will take Marvel, but you have to trade Bubble for it, and you have to give up even more ground, and it's worst case scenario for the Chiefs.
And it could be even worse. Last stand going to be blocked by the wall there. Good reaction from the Chiefs, but they've already lost their fellow Wolverine player. And Xy's not even close to being done as they're trying to scoop up more and more KOs here. The Chiefs doing the best they can to stall it out. Do have the boundary at the last possible moment here. Beast Node trying their best to hold strong and not implode onto this one. Does force Z10 to give a bit of space here, but they are now looking to engage right back into it. Last stand coming out, and they will not be able to further it. Jerry shuts down Reno, Jongbeck down, everybody down. It's the Jerry Show, baby. They are getting it all done for their team, and they will get it past that checkpoint and then some right now.
Yeah, I mean, as Chiefs trying so desperately to hold on to that point by a thread, but there's not a whole lot that you can do when you burn your Volta Strategist ultimates. You don't get any elims for it, and then Jerry just zip lines in, pulls out the shotgun, and just puts it right between the eyes time and time again, finding a triple KO in that fight. And that's like your best shot at a defensive hold from the Chiefs already gone. 3 minutes to try and get through point C. It's a pretty tall task, even for Z10, but at this rate, you know, they just might be able to get the cap, and I think for the Chiefs, that is your only lifeline left. You have to deny this full cap from coming through, deny Zero Tenacity the opportunity at extra innings if you get a full cap of your own. And I think, you know, you also want to make sure that even if you give it up, you can't give it up with time, but Zero Tenacity are setting a blistering pace right now on Museum, and with Xy holding on to that last stand, there might be an opportunity to add a little bit more pressure onto the Chiefs.
Yeah, add that a little bit much more pressure there, and are they going to succumb to the pressure, or will they be able to bounce back? The big test coming out here. Strangling Prison in to the Meteor from the Chiefs, though. Jerry ready with the end song, trying their best to burn through, and they will burn through. Donald actually good for it. Jerry going to be responded back, though. Or Jongbeck, rather. Find Wendy, and looking for more around the corner. It's the Reno show now. Zerko flowing down and going to town with more. Beast Node prepared to try and hunt down Jerry here. Will succeed at a little bit of distance, and they do get all that they need. So at long last, the Chiefs will be able to stop them in their tracks, but for how long?
Yeah, and again, it's like they're hanging on by a thread, and I think what's happening for the Chiefs right now as well is, you know, on some of these defensive fights, they're taking too much time to think about what they want to do, and Zero Tenacity are able to scout it out in that time frame. Like, you know, they use both Vanguard ultimates, you know, the Strangling Prison from Beast Node, but it gets completely blocked, and with nobody locked down, Donald can't hit the dunk on the Magneto, so that's 2 ults that end up going awry. Sure, even though you win the fight off some heroics from Reno, it's 2 tools you can't carry on over to the next one.
Yeah, and they need all the tools that they can get here. Creative using a big tool there, now matched by the Boundary. Soko good with the Meteor to try and shut him down, and they will find Jong Vek first mark here. To ignite the spark with more around the corner though. Jerry uncontested on the Hyatt, but Exy going to be contested in a big way. Good matchup on the Bubble though. Exy's back with the BRB as well, so even if they get KO'd, it does not even matter. Marble is hunting down the back line right now into the Hulk smash form as well. They're ready to continue this clash, and Donald going to be the first one answered there. Marble back to Puny banner form there. Will go down to Zykrek, and the Chiefs need to do what they can to regroup and push their way back to the mission vehicle because it's so close to getting to the end of the line.
Oh, hey, hello. Jerry delivered airmail. Bubble is going to be receiving that one. He'll put his signature on it and put it on the right side of that KO feed. Now he's got to heal up the front line as they are once again under pressure from Zero Tenacity, looking to try and re-engage here as Marvel is going to come back into the fray, but they're losing the lion's share of their damage without that Phoenix, so it's going to be a tentative approach, and the Chiefs have managed to bleed this time bank down to under 30 seconds, so there is a potential for a hold here, but as we've seen on this map a few times, simply stopping them short of a full cap is not enough, especially when it comes to the attacking side. They have to go on the attack now as they have got the ults to do so, and Song Inferno and a Raging Royal Flush looking to try and burst someone down. Will it be Creative? No, Creative gonna get out of dodge, but so much more damage coming through, so much more pressure, but Wendy absorbing it all with the CYA, pumping out the damage. He'll burn Donald down, and the Chiefs gonna be on the back foot once again as Creative cutting Reno down with those cars. He is dishing out the hurt, and Exy is got a little bit more in the tank for you. And Jerry with a couple more clicks, and this cap will be coming through for Zero Tenacity, and there ain't nothing left for the Chiefs to do to stop it.
Nothing left in this one, and we're left in the exact same situation as map number 2 there. All the way down to 0 seconds. Z10 push it over the line here and manage to get it done. So well done to Z10, they get the full push, but now the pressure is on the Chiefs to try and meet them and exceed them, heading into their own attacking phase here. Z10 had an absolute triumphant beginning on their attack, but they weren't able to push it through with too much quickness towards the end of the line here, so the Chiefs now need to do everything within their power in order to fully enable themselves as soon as possible.
And I think what they need to do, what they really need to do right here and now is use this time frame in between the rounds here to just go for a reset. Because again, there's a lot of these moments where it feels like they're kind of overcooking. They're thinking a little bit too hard about their next move, and it's giving Zero Tenacity an opportunity to strike first or scout out what the Chiefs want to do and have a counter at the ready. And that just means that the Chiefs are going to lose every single fight. They need to be willing to have a plan and go for it and act before Zero Tenacity are able to react. And to that end, though, they also can't get too desperate. You know, they can't try and make a couple of these desperation plays. There's a couple times where they're just throwing strategist ultimates out there and hoping that something sticks, and it's still not enough to stop the onslaught from Z10. It's when you're trying to pray for a hero play, when you need a hero so badly, you try to be the hero, when you try to make something happen, and you end up being punished for it. And unfortunately for Zero Tenacity, the Chiefs are going to get another moment to breathe, as we will be going to a pause here for just a short moment, and I think that's exactly what they need.
Yeah, I think that they need that chance to kind of hit the mental reset, you know, just to recompose themselves heading into this next segment here, because at this point, you know, I think that, yeah, they just need to ground themselves, you know, have a chat amongst themselves, I suppose, to put themselves in the right perspective heading forward, because it definitely has been rough, and I'm curious to see what the result of this will turn into.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, like, we don't get a whole lot of data on the attacking side here to kick things off, but yeah, they just need to reset. Like, that's the only real way to say it, because they just kind of played that defense so poorly, especially on point A. Like, it kind of felt like once their plan went awry, they didn't really have a good backup plan, and they were just scratching and clawing for any sort of desperation and making so many mistakes that Zero Tenacity are happy to seize the opportunity for. They need to iron that out, and they need to execute on their plan to perfection. All members of this team need to come on live, come back online, and they need to take a deep breath to do so.
Yeah, they just need to calm down, you know, maybe take a page out of Iron Fist's book there, have some meditation, you know, look to calm things down for a moment, enter their living chi, you know? Yeah, that's it. Get into that Zen state.
Yeah, because the chakras are so far out of line right now. Like, it's all it's kind of all over the place. Like, you can tell they're stressed, they're a little bit shook, and they're playing like it. And you like, you know, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes, but you can tell just from the body language, from the posturing, from where some of these team members are playing, like from some of the decisions that they're making. It's just not the right call.
Yeah, it just feels a little bit out of place there. You know, it could just be maybe a bit of tilt coming into effect there, maybe something else entirely. But I'm sure with this time they're going to be able to recompose themselves and, yeah, reactivate heading into the next segment here.
While we're here on a pause, I'm gonna shout out Diatonic in the green room, who just said, yeah, take a page out of Iron Fist book, get into some real estate so you can buy some cheaper townhomes. Listen, they can't afford it if they don't win, you know, a big cash prize here in these tournaments. You know, they got to get through it. Otherwise, they can't even afford a cheap townhome. They're gonna be renting until they're dead.
Yeah. Unlucky. Hopefully they'll be able to log in some free real estate as we get back into the game right now, everybody. Thanks so much for your patience. Let the games begin here. Z10 already look to spin things back into action. They've shut down Jongvek there, and are looking to command respect from every other member, trying to meet them head on here. They will have plentiful amounts of mines at the ready, and Reno is doing the best to try and shift their focus. The Chiefs getting a little bit of ground on this one, but they're going to need a little bit more than a little bit. They're going to need a lot of it in a second.
And I think 1 second is all they have, because, you know, have a look at Zero Dynasty's composition. You know, there is the threat of that triple res that could come out if this fight goes too long. So, again, Chiefs have to seize the moment. They can't give Zero Dynasty time to react. So an early CYA, and it's way up high in the sky, so everybody from the Chiefs is going to be the recipient of it, and nobody from Z10 can really afford to look up to break it. So they do have to give ground, and that's enough for the Chiefs to get around this first corner. But now what? As Ultimate's going to start to come online for Zero Dynasty, you have to try and find a way to clear this last hurdle. Potentially Bubble with this God of Mischief might be what the Doctor ordered. That's going to give them another CYA, and maybe they can burst down this Spider Sweeper from Marvel. As the Amplifier comes out, Jongvek with the shotties is going to put Creative down, and now Donald getting in there with a diamond for him, just letting the fist fly. There's a choke slam there for Marvel, and he'll send him straight to heck, and Jongvek is good for 2 more. That's going to be the cap coming through. Well played from the Chiefs.
Yeah, so they will be able to match up with some of Z10's attacking energy there, getting a lot of time in the bank here, and moving on as to set their sights on that second checkpoint here. Already staging themselves for the next fight ahead of them, and I like that they're already looking to scout here. Exy, though, trying to catch them with the Glance Rocks. Okay, a bit of a confidence booster onto that one, trying to set the walls up. Oh, big reaction. They will be able to get the Strangling Prison out there, but not going to be able to get any KOs from it. Zoko responding again, though. Looking to bounce over the top. They've caught Jongvek in their raise there, and they will not catch anyone further from there. Exy, though, unlucky onto that one, and Donald bringing out the seductive raise as well. So every ult you think of is just being brought out right now. Z10 coming unwound, it would seem, onto this one, CB.
You can see briefly, though, from Beast Node's player cam, you can tell the cortisol levels are through the roof, and how could you not be after that exchange? It feels like you did a dance with death. You got caught in the Glartrox, then the Carbon Crush, somehow lived to tell about it, hit a huge Strangling Prison, and even still it wasn't enough to put Zero Tenacity down, but off that BRB and Jongvek getting back into the fray, they're able to return fire, but there is now going to be another Final Judgment coming their way, and the Amplifier from Zykrek and the shotgun shots from Jongvek, it's enough to put Jerry down. He'll be rezzed back up, but the Chiefs are setting a good pace here. They just need to stick the landing. Exy and Marvel getting into the frays, one by one, getting cut down though. Beast Node going to take Marvel down, and Reno taking this Wolverine duel with Exy, and with the help of a couple of his compadres, he'll be able to win it, and now 4:45 in the time bank for the Chiefs. They might be able to take this to extra innings. They just need to keep this pace going.
Keep it going all the way to the bank here. We'll see if they can do it, CB, as it's all going to be down to these last critical moments here. The Chiefs on the home stretch. They have just under 4.5 minutes to do it. Z10 have no ults right now, which could be perfect for the Chiefs, but maybe not. Reno, oh my goodness, almost sent out of orbit there. Yeah, that was terrifying. That's a jump scare.
Just freezes him in place, and it just stares him down for a second. It's like, what do you think you're doing up there, little buddy? Yeah, not going to be catching them sleeping today. Zero Tenacity, though, on the back foot a little bit, and some decent cart progress being made here for the Chiefs, and some more ultimates to be able to cart that one going. And Marvel nearly getting bursted down to puny banner form. There's going to be CYA that comes out from Bubble off the duplicate there, and Reno with those adamantium claws is going to cut the raccoon on the other side to ribbons, turning Wendy into roadkill. And there's going to be another fight win for the Chiefs, and a swift de-hulking there of Marvel to stagger that last fight out, get them some more progress.
Yeah, plenty of progress, and maybe more where that came from. Z10 now at the edge of this one. XE has the last stand, and they're getting so close to many ults here. The Chiefs need to stop them before they can pop, but I mean, if they force them out, they've still got plenty of time to get through this one. We'll see who's going to go first onto this now, though. They will hold the line. Jerry in a bit of trouble for now, not for long, though. They get sustained through it, and it is going to be Zyfric going first with the CYA. Soko, good with the meteor. They get shut down by Reno. Pop goes the balloon there, and they will push ahead of it. Soko going to be brought right back, and they will be able to collect a bubble here. Final Judgment going to be coming out from Z10 as well, and they will be able to shred past Jongbeck and more. Donald from downtown, a beast node to follow. It's the Jerry Show, baby.
But I gotta say, you know, the shoe is very much so on the other foot. That pause was exactly what the Chiefs needed, because now nearly 3 minutes to try and get the cart 1 meter away, and Zero Tenacity are the ones relying on these hero plays, on these clutch moments. Unfortunately for them, they do come through, and they get some more ultimates to be able to hold on. They can maybe bleed this time bank down, but it feels like the full cap from the Chiefs is all but inevitable, as all it's gonna take is 1 more CYA, and with a low-key composition, they've got 2 chances to do it. Zero Tenacity, they gotta be privy to that. They gotta look for some of these KOs in the neutral. They gotta push the advantage while they have it. It's gonna be a silent seduction to be able to snuff that opportunity, and Reno is just cutting down this Worldbreaker Hulk. Hulk does not smash. In fact, he will be reduced back down to the puny little scientist that he is, traded out for Donald. But as the fight is happening so far forward, the BRB comes out, brings Donald back into the fray. Zero Tenacity are going to have to be on the back foot here, back themselves all the way to the cart, and give the Chiefs the respect that they are commanding at this moment.
And they switch up onto Angela as well, trying to see if that's going to work. Last stand, looking to be enabled by Axie here. Not going to be able to get the KO, though. Jerry looking to start the show. CYA coming up. Bubble looking to match it there. Ooh, last stand into the final judgment coming out from Jongbeck as well. The Chiefs burning their way ahead, but it's the Angela trying to stall it out from Marvel. No! Beast Node snipes them down from downtown. They've got one more thing to worry about. A portal and a dream. Will the dream come true? It's all going to be proven here as they go shot for shot onto this one, but Jerry's back with a final judgment as well. The battle ain't over, but the CYA is back in play here. They're pushing them away from the mission vehicle. Donald will be able to shut down Jerry, and they're looking for more over the top of this as well. Reno with a feral leap, getting one back over the top, but it's the meteor from Soko here, trying to turn the tides. They get nothing as they collide into this one. This fight is never gonna stop, CB.
I mean, it's got to, sooner or later. 50 seconds left in the time bank, and Chiefs looking to try and get this last meter away from Zero Tenacity, but Zero Tenacity will not be removed from this point. Soko, though, will be by force, as Reno still letting the claws fly, and with the help of Beast Node, he'll bring down another, and as he goes in for the last stand, the Chiefs have stuck the landing, and they'll take us to extra inning. Do you hear that, Matzy? They have not yet flatlined. There is still a heartbeat.
They're still kicking, they're still fighting with all of OC's hurts behind them. The Chiefs will hold on for dear life here. Can they get it done in OT? That is going to be the proving point here. It's all going to be up to Z10 to try and exceed them once again on the attacking phase here. Or will the Chiefs be able to run it back for a defense of the ages? The changes are already being locked in.
It's going to have to be, like you say, a defense of the ages. It's the only real way that they can make this one work. They do have a 40-second advantage in the time bank over Z10, but once it gets to overtime, it doesn't really matter. So you have to stand your ground. You can't give up an inch. You, crucially, can't give up this first capture point, and you also can't give them time to assess, go back to the drawing board like you had. We're going back to another pause. And, yeah, you know what? I guess, steal every trick in the book. If Chiefs get a reset, so do we.
Yeah, we get to settle down for a second here. We get to take a moment. Hi guys, welcome back.
Did you miss us?
To have you back on board. Oh, I missed us. I hope they missed us too.
So here's the thing though, is I'm looking. I see one player in the lobby who has not locked their hero, and it's Jongbeck. So it might actually be another pause coming through from the Chiefs, and I hate to speak this into existence, but that might be bad. You know, it might be another one of those kind of like mental tests that they need to overcome. Yeah, please not again. Like, they're so close to getting themselves back in this series, you know, right off the heels of a stellar attacking phase where they're able to best Zero Tenacity's time bank, get the full cap for the first time in what feels like a long time, take us to extra innings on Museum of Contemplation. And if Jongvek can't load into the lobby, that is going to shake them to their very core. Looks like we are going to be back into the fray, and Chiefs are going to be back at full strength. And here we go, Matsy. It is now or never. The Chiefs need to stand their ground. Ironclad defense, nothing less, will buy them another life.
We'll buy them another life. We'll buy them another ticket to revival here. And let's see how it's all going to go down as the gates open. Reno prepared to scout out, hiding around the outside while their team takes the brunt of the fight. And they will already get a collection there. Marvel in a bit of trouble. They will fall back into their team, waiting for the next point of contention here. I think they might have got a spot on a Jerry as well. Exy might be the next one to face the claws, as they will be hiding around the corners here. But Z10, they're already prepared to try and push it past the first corner.
Well, here's the thing, though, is like the Chiefs, they're going to back up, let Z10 get around the first corner. If that opens up a flank route for Jerry on that Star-Lord. He's holding the same angle right now as Exy, and that might be a mistake. They can't really set up a pinch with the Star-Lord, and the Chiefs, they're going to identify that. You know, all they have to do is clear that angle and force them into an uncomfortable situation, take the fight straight to Zero Tenacity, and they can maybe find their first elim, and they will. It is Jerry getting caught out there by Donald, and with a roundhouse kick, nearly finds one onto Exy as well. Jerry will be rezzed right back up, so Zero Tenacity still at full strength, but the Chiefs assert their dominance early on in this fight. There's a diving strike that comes out from Marvel, but he's forced to swing right back out, feeling the full force of Jongvek, and he'll be feeling it and then some as the CYA comes out, a shotgun shot, painting Exy's chest with buckshot, and this is exactly the defense that the Chiefs need. The overtime wick will burn away, and Jerry will not be able to stop it. He's struck down by Beast Node, and the bar has been set, and all the Chiefs have left to do is clear it.
Oh my days, I said they need a defense of the ages, and they will deliver here and now. Z10 need to absolutely lock in right now. They need to put on an absolute masterpiece if they want to hold it down on Museum of Contemplation right now, because the Chiefs could be on the edge of a potential map victory right here and now. It's all going to be down to this, CB, and Jerry is bringing out the DD.
I'm bringing out the water bottle, and I'm spraying him like a cat. No, off. You get off of the Daredevil. Do not come out here with this. For the defensive side, you need so much more than this. Like,
put it back.
This is the kind of situation that calls for like one of those double res compositions, but I guess Zero Tenacity feel like it didn't work out too well on the first side. Chiefs had it scouted, and they don't overwhelm it, but they do go with just enough force that Zero Tenacity have to give ground in order to make it work, so they don't feel safe doing that this time. They're going to go for a split dive now with Marvel and Jerry looking to try and be a two-man hit squad while the rest of Zero Tenacity hold the fort.
Hold it down, hold down the line, and nobody is going to be fine at the end of this map here. This one is pulling on the heartstrings of supporters of both teams. Will they stay? Will they go? It's all down to this, everybody. And Wendy already looking to pump up the damage numbers for their team there, and going to hold it down the front. But I like how Beast Node is trying to isolate the lines of sight here with the walls, and looking to see if they can catch them off guard nice and quickly.
The Chiefs are definitely feeling themselves in Beast Node, like you said, using those walls to try and catch a member off. Oh, Marvel getting kidnapped there, and that's going to be the first elim coming through with Jongvek with a shotgun, and Beast Node is under the full pressure from Soko, but it doesn't matter. They've got the spawn advantage. It's right there. You can afford to take that loss, but Marvel was not expendable. He's going to swap over onto the Doctor Strange, try and get back into the fray quickly because he's running out of time, but he's also running out of friends as Jerry has been caught out as well, and the pressure from the Chiefs, they just keep cranking the screws tighter and tighter, and now as the portal play comes through, Jongvek is ready for whatever waits on the other side, but it might just be victory on the other side as they're inches away from it, and Marvel is not going to be able to stop it. Jerry getting cleaned up again by Zykrek, and the CYA, the damage, it's too much to withstand, and the Chiefs, their heart is still beating, and it is getting louder as they bought themselves another life, another opportunity. We go one more.
We go all the way, baby! The curse is broken! No more 3-0s! the Chiefs will be able to bring it back and take a map of their own here. Oh my days, and look at that. It's the MVP bubble, locking it in there. My goodness, what a map that was, and the Chiefs are back online.
I don't know if I've ever seen you smile as big right now, as much hope in your eyes as our token OC rep from this one. You know, my Asia bias, I'm putting it aside because now I'm fully invested in this developing underdog story. A reverse sweep is now possible. It's now in the cards if the Chiefs continue to hit this stride that they have now hit, forcing Zero Tenacity to make some of those uncomfortable swaps. They applied just enough pressure to where Jerry had to go back to his old tricks, and it's not a very good trick. He does get the SVP, sure, off of 17 final hits, but I can assure you that did not come off of that Daredevil pick towards the end. That was a Hail Mary play, just trying to go for some assassinations alongside Marvel. Just didn't work. Every time he or Marvel went in, they got carted off by Reno on that Wolverine, and you know, Bubble, like you say, getting the MVP there for the Chiefs, but I'm looking at this duelist lineup. Reno and Jong Vek did exactly what they needed to do in order to put Zero Tenacity down and say, we still have something left to say. We are not out of this tournament just yet. We got at least one more left in the tank, potentially two, potentially three. Now Zero Tenacity, how much more do you have left?
And that's going to be pushed to the limit here, isn't it? You know, have they managed to use up all gas? Is it going to be nothing left in the tank here? Or will they be able to have their own moment of reflection, their epiphany, their aha moment, and switch the gears back into their favor here? They're certainly going to have to prove themselves heading into our fourth map in contention. And I am just left wondering, like, where do we go next, CB?
I mean, it could really be anywhere because I think, you know, Zero Tenacity, it's going to be their map pick for the first time in this series, and they can take us just about anywhere, but two of the best options for the kind of front-to-back playstyle that I think has played very well into their hero pool have now been expended, and there's a couple more good options for the Chiefs later on down the line. You know, I'm thinking something like a Midtown. Zero Tenacity probably want to avoid that one if, you know, considering how Museum of Contemplation went. I don't know, maybe you go to like a Central Park or something like that. You know, I kind of feel like that might be a comfort pick for a team like Zero Tenacity. I think, you know, if I had to predict, that's probably where they would go, but you know, Domination is also open up, and maybe they can take us back to Domination. There's so many questions and so much more time to find some answers, and we will have some answers for you on the other side of this break. It's map number 4 on the other side. We'll see you in just a bit.
Lights out. Get in here, y'all. Us against the world.
We have a series! We did it! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! We have a series! But But is this going to be the momentum the Chiefs need to move it forwards? That's always the question we need to ask when it comes to the elimination side, especially when it's only one map away from possible destruction, losing one of our 2 OCE representatives in playoffs. Take a deep breath.
I hope this goes deeper because I'm so sick and tired of 3-0s, and now we finally get a 4-mapper. I think I deserve a 5-mapper just to kind of cleanse the palate a little bit more, and this one is starting to get some of that drama that we crave. As we go to our next map pick, it's going to be Hell's Heaven, chosen by Zero Tenacity. And now that we've got the Chiefs back into this fight, let's talk a little bit about this. You know, you've got the Chiefs coming in as one of the 2 representatives from OCE, trying to live up to the standard bearers of the region in Gen G and show that the region is so much more than just the Gen G region. They've also got hands, and I mean, they've now shown it. They have drawn blood off of Zero Tenacity, and you know, Zero Tenacity, this team that is just chock full of some of the best talent in the region, feels like they're destined for so much more than a 3rd seed coming into this matchup. Feels like they're destined for great things, but are struggling to live up to it. Now on the back foot, still on match point, but the momentum isn't on their side anymore. The Chiefs have stolen it.
We've set the stakes, and now we have to see, because I'm looking at the feed right now. We are not too far off from getting the picks and bans again. We're heading straight into game number 4. Quick, if you two could give me a big summary about what happened at Museum of Contemplation. How did Chiefs bring it back?
The Chiefs, they managed to really lock in after that pause. You know, I was saying in the green room, I think that maybe their coach slapped some sense into them, or maybe something else entirely, you know, but I think it's just that moment to ground yourself, take a deep breath, as you nicely put it there in the beginning, is exactly what they did. And then after they had that moment to refocus, you know, slow things down, they really managed to play into their strengths.
What about you, CB? Give me a quick summary.
I kind of agree. Like, you know, they just took that opportunity to reset, and then they played their game, and they played it correctly. They stopped kind of overextending. Beast Node stopped getting caught out on some of these dives, and, you know, Jongvek just started to come online, and especially with that rocket, you know, the CYAs from Bubble coming through, and even the duplicate, you know, that was coming through as well. I think it just worked out. I think they hit a stride, and I think they found something that works. And on this next map, Hell's Heaven, it might be difficult to replicate that success, but that doesn't mean that it is impossible, and the Chiefs have shown that nothing is impossible.
And make the impossible possible as we jump into the draft right now, everybody. Is it going to be the Museum of Replication in the draft right now? Most possibly, as I'm certain we're probably going to see Mantis gone again. Maybe not, though. You know, maybe they change it up. Nope. It's going to be all the same. Mantis is no more.
You keep making all these Museum of Contemplation jokes. We're past that, all right? We're going to have a Museum of Confrontation if you don't stop, all right? Mantis is going to be taken off, just like you said. And, you know, of course, you know, the rest of this first half of the ban phase going to be predictable. I think, you know, both teams are going to be a little bit afraid to break the norm here. So expect a couple of rogue bans and a couple of Gambit Protects, making sure that that's going to be on lockdown. But we might see some change-ups in the back half as both teams are going to be looking to, like you say, I guess, replicate the success from Museum of Contemplation, and for Z10 to throw a curveball that the Chiefs might not be ready for.
Yeah, and it looks like we are going to see those double-sided Gambit. No Rogue this time on the team up for Z10. So going to be no Rogue on both sides for that matter. So no Rogue, no worries there. But what's next on the block? What's next to come through? It's all going to be decided by both of these sides, as we do have no Rocket for Z10 this time and no Star-Lord. Okay.
Interesting. So I do like the Star-Lord ban. It's something that they've reached for a couple of times, but I also like the Rocket ban and the Rocket Protect from the Chiefs. I was like, okay, you know, you can't have the Guardian of the Galaxy, you can't have Star-Lord, you can't, you know, hit that Galactic Legend, can't hit the Galactic Flush combo. That's okay, we don't need it because we just have pure raw damage amplification coming from our backline. Rocket Gambit, I will argue, is, I think, the best backline you can possibly play in the game outside of a triple strategist look, and the Chiefs have now got that on lockdown.
Yeah, they've got exactly what they need here. They won't be able to rely upon the Cyclops, but I mean, they've still got access to the alternative option there in the Phoenix. They will ban out the Lunar Snow away from Z10 though, so they can't play into the Lunar Fox team up this time around on Z10. And it looks like the Chiefs are going to be looking to run it on the Triple Vanguard in the beginning there. Beast Node going places. I would have loved a POV on that to see what happened, to be honest. I don't know what happened there.
We're not going to do him dirty like that. All right, you know what? He was just scouting out the scenery, all right? You got such a beautiful view from outside of this mountain, you know? It's so good. He just wanted to check some of it out, but, you know, it's still going to be a 5v6, but Zero Tenacity not seizing in on the opportunity, especially now with Beast Node back on the Angela, back to the fight relatively quickly. Potentially has the element of surprise, and surprise, he's skewered at Jerry.
Yeah, maybe there was some mind games coming through there early, CB, catching us and their enemies by surprise as a Beast Node grinds their way in with the double down. It's matched by Z10 though. Marvel cooking on this one, almost booking more. They will succeed. Jongvek now taking to the floor, and Z10 looking to lock it down on that first capture point.
Yeah, it's not what you get, it's who you get. I mean, Beast Node makes his presence felt, but it doesn't matter because on the other side, like you say, you trade 2 for 2, but when the two that the Chiefs lose are Bubble and Zykrek, I mean, your front line, like, they're on the clock. They're not going to last forever. They got to get something done or they're cooked, and they got cooked in that one. Zero Tenacity have the first cap here, and now Jerry going into the front line. They're taking down Bubble again, and now on this Daredevil, he is able to scout out this backline and continue to punish them, and the Chiefs have to try and find a way to scout this one out, as Bubble's actually going to make a couple of swaps. He's going to make the swap off of the Rocket now over onto the Luna Snow, and I'm wondering if that might just be a little bit more survival instinct coming out.
Yeah, I think they're definitely looking to make a shift
Oh,
there.
no.
Looks like the Raging Royal Flush coming out with a Ruby Rage there. Engage, and Bubble goes down immediately. Not going to be able to lock things down there. Jongvek will now be ejected as well. They're looking to follow it up over and over again here. Z10 will take pictures, collect moments, and look to hold it down.
Zero Tenacity, like, they used a lot on that one. I think, you know, there was a back cap that was coming through, and it might have been from Donald, and Soko used the Banhammer to try and win that duel, so 3 ultimates end up coming out from the side of Z10, and now they got to invest the 4th, but the Raging Royal Flush now coming up from Zykrek. It's going to give the Chiefs the opportunity to break this stranglehold on the choke point, and Zero Tenacity recognizes, so they scatter like ants. Look at the silhouettes, they're all over the map right now, and the Chiefs are going to walk on forward through this choke relatively unscathed, but now as Zero Tenacity clamp back down, it's going to get a lot more dicey. Wendy popping that Kumiho Unleash, but Jerry getting cleaned up there by Jongvek, and as Bubble lays out the dance floor, Jongvek is going to be dancing on the graves of Z10 if he can get a couple more shots downrange. Zero Tenacity a little bit too afraid to show face in this situation, so the flip may very well come for the Chiefs, and Z10 have to do something to stop it. Marvel and Soko gonna go and try and hold the line, but Reno now dangling above with a Meteor Ram will take down Jerry, catches him, trying to follow up on the dive, but Xy's got the angle.
Oh, strangle it in with the triple down. Surely a quad. No, Creative takes it there. Going absolutely nuclear on the tail end of this mission area. And Z10, lock down your first capture point on Hell's Heaven.
Xy simply says no. That fight was won by the Chiefs, but they were so focused on trying to wrestle control away from Marvel and Soko that all Xy has to do is hit one button, and he literally Thanos snapped 3 members of the Chiefs away. And I mean, if network issues wasn't heartbreaking, if being forced down to match point wasn't heartbreaking, that very well might be. Is there another reset left in the tank for the Chiefs? There's gotta be, because this is their last opportunity. And Zero Tenacity, they scouted out this map pick perfectly, I gotta say. And they've also been able to get a coup in the ban draft, getting Xy this Cyclops, because he has come online. He is not wasting this opportunity to take his team further in the lower bracket. He is gonna make the most of this one. And the Chiefs, I mean, what do you do to stop it?
The battle starts in 5.
Everything they possibly can. They've already made some changes there towards Zykrek on the Fox this time. A Bubble back towards Luna. Beast Node going to be on the cap now. And Donald looking to hold it on the Vanpool there. So, curious to see how the Battle of the Devils will go as well. Will Jerry succeed or Reno into this one? As the Chiefs are already scouting them out around the outside here. And we'll be looking to wait things out. Z10 all the same, looking to hold it down and go first. Raging Royal Flush, and now going to flush them into battle here. Chiefs taking a ton of damage, and with no answer, they will be evacuated immediately.
Now, you called out some of those swaps, Zykrek over onto the White Fox, but you don't have a Gambit. So every time there's a Raging Royal Flush online for Creative, Zero Tenacity are gonna win the fight, and you don't really have a whole lot to do about it. And with those swaps coming through, you're not even gonna have a defensive ult to be able to withstand it. I mean, and even if you did, the Kumiho Unleash is just not enough healing to be able to withstand it. So Zero Tenacity, they win the first fight, they find the first cap, And the Chiefs still struggling to come online, still struggling to get a couple of ultimates. And Zero Tenacity want to press the advantage of the Band Hammer onto Bubble, and it'll have some Deagle shots as well. And now Exy, oh, he's got some shots as well. One onto Donald, potentially another for Reno. Reno has some objections to it, but he ain't got a whole lot left to say as he'll be tucking his tail between his legs, retreating back to spawn, and Zero Tenacity once again holding the choke.
Holding it down when it counts here, and will be surmounting themselves to the top of the mountain for the moment. But the Chiefs already charging themselves back up to barge back in. They found Wendy, so this is a great start from Reno here. It certainly changed the flow, but losing Donald is going to change the flow back to Z10 here. As Soko looking to can't stop, won't stop under this one. They will catch Jerry though around the outside, so the Chiefs fighting back blow for blow into this one, and looking to see if they can capture more out of their resistance here, but they still haven't managed to find the capture point. They will barge in with a freedom charge though. Going to be matched now by the Raging Royal Flush, and Exy and Co focuses on you.
It's going to be that Fatal Bolt once it comes out from Bubble. That's just what the doctor ordered in this exchange. You're going to need a couple more doctors. Kumiho unleashed now on both sides, but Jerry now taking the duel to Jongbek, and he's going to be able to clean that one up, and now he's getting into the fray, pummeling the White Fox. Reno, though, wasn't let the devil out. He'll find two in the fight, and maybe, just maybe, this is what the Chiefs need to get themselves back into it. 75% now for Zero Tenacity, but they're going to be stopped at 76 as the Chiefs have finally got themselves on the board.
At long last, they will be able to kick the door down and step things back into gear here. But Z10, they've got a lot of points of resistance that they can bring up as well. The Chiefs need to hold on, get further progression as soon as possible, and try and single out some of these KOs before Z10 can meet them at the front door here. They're getting a lot of damage down onto Soko, which is great, but they need a KO to follow it. Jerry now looking to let the devil out. Going to be matched up by the Glotchrox here. Jongbek will be able to lock down a Jerry there. Marvel diving into the back line with the Feast of the Abyss, and they double down on the KO feed here. Marvel in a bit of trouble though, but they are going to be sustained through this one as Z10 getting close to it. Will be able to push it up, but not going to be able to progress it yet, but they will flip the script now. The Chiefs in deep, deep trouble.
80% one fight territory, and all Zero Tenacity have to do is close out that one fight, and I mean, they can even make it 2 fights if they really want to, because they're going to have an opportunity for a range TP, but they want to take that fight now. Marvel going to pressure some members of the back line out, but swing right back out. I guess not wanting to fight, just trying to force the Chiefs to flinch, force them to make that one last fatal mistake. And this might be a fatal blow that comes out. Raging Royal Flush. Jerry goes in deep. He gets frozen up, but it doesn't matter because when he thaws out, he pummels the back line, and the Chiefs eviscerated by Zero Tenacity. They recognize no chain of command. They are the ones in charge, and they will be sending the Chiefs back down under, and they will carry on in this tournament to the next round of the lower bracket. Farewell, Chiefs. You played well, you fought your hearts out, but Zero Tenacity today belongs to them.
Will extinguish one of the 2 flames from Oceania there. Z10 come out on top and will be with a burning rage there. Exy doing absolute work on the Cyclops this time around, and they will lock it in. 4 maps, and Z10 come back on top in the 4th. So fantastic work from them and theirs onto that one. They lay claim to victory and will secure their potential rematch up against XO.
Yeah, and you better believe they are looking forward to that one. They are salivating at the opportunity to right that wrong now that they have seemingly steered the ship in the correct direction. You know, whether it's on the Wolverine or on the Cyclops, Exy hitting the shots, the star of this squad, 29-1 with 14 final hits. I cannot wait to see how many elims he got in this series. You know, it was 4 maps, so maybe we did break 100 this time around, and how many of them have been final blows. Every single time you give this guy an opportunity to hit a shot, he'll hit it. And Zero Tenacity, they figured out how to make it happen. They figured out how to set him up for success, and they figured out how to close out a series where they are in control the entire time. They flinched a little bit on Museum of Contemplation, but then they came back and they frankly just looked angry here. Exy with the Ruby Rages just at the right moment, finding the right shots, and like, that's really all there is to say about it. Like, the Chiefs didn't really get themselves into it, sans like 1 or 2 fights here and there, and even when they win, Exy just simply says no.
Yeah, denied at the gates. You shall not pass onto this one as XE absolutely sends them out of orbit there. So fantastic work coming through from them and theirs. But welcome back, Keg. How do you feel about that one, man?
I should be asking you that, dude. How are you feeling, Matsy?
You okay?
No.
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 No, it's time for therapy mode. Hold on. How do you feel, Matsy? Talk about it.
Sadness.
Sadness. That's me every day. But how do you feel about the Chiefs specifically?
I'm very impressed that they managed to take the one map that they did lay claim to there. I'm not sure what happened in between, you know, between that convoy segment in towards the, domination there. It just seemed like something came unwound. They had like the morale ignited there, but it just all came unwound. Z10 locked back in on domination.
Yeah, I concur. You know, they did kind of have it figured out there, and Z10 just kind of locked in. You know, it kind of felt like Z10, they had a couple missteps on Museum of Contemplation, maybe got a little bit cocky, and the Chiefs were able to seize that and end up winning that one outright, but they made no mistakes. They were about as perfect as you can be on Hell's Heaven. It was a great map pick. They ruled domination with an Iron Fist, not the hero, but, you know, the metaphorical Iron Fist. It was with the Cyclops, as a matter of fact, that they ruled Hell's Heaven. And, you know, your heart does kind of break for the Chiefs. At least they went down swinging, and, you know, full credit to them for that. But unfortunately, one of our 2 OCE reps is now gone. And, you know, don't worry too much, Matsy, because Genji, they will carry the flame.
Yeah, Genji has been the rep for OCE for quite a while now, and it seems like they may be able to make the run, but we'll have to wait and see later tonight with Reject versus Genji to see if they can stay in the upper bracket doing so. But we're getting way ahead of ourselves here. Even though we are in the lower bracket right now, could we, and I don't have all the stats in front of me, CB, could we consider XZ, at least statistically, the MVP of this tournament so far?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say that with my, you're talking to #1 XC Glazer in the region. I will say with my whole chest, yes, I think he is the MVP. And I think the only reason that more people aren't saying that is because Zero Tenacity up to this point haven't really lived up to the potential of the talent of this team. As I've said a couple of times throughout this broadcast, they have so much talent across the board. It's not just XC. He may be the most valuable, but they are destined for so much more than they have achieved. And they still have a lifeline. They still have something left to say in this lower bracket. They can achieve it. And the first step is going to be getting that monkey off of their back, whether it's XO or whoever ends up coming their way. They have to be able to clear that one. And then just maybe, you know, if they were able to take the Chiefs this decisively, maybe they could, you know, take it to Gen G if we see another lower bracket run. You know, there's a world where it could happen. I want to see this team on land so badly, and I want the world to see the MVP that Exy is.
We're going to be stalling for a few minutes before we get the interview ready, but PAC, is this region not cinema or what? Like, this has been the most cinematic region I think we've seen in all of Ignite. It has been incredible. Even though devastating, crushing loss for our OCE enjoyers, this was still one hell of a day for PAC, and we're not even done yet. We're just over the halfway mark, and it's been like this every single day. But even then, every day we get to see XZ has just been a phenomenal time. But unfortunately, we will have to say goodbye to Chiefs. They will no longer be here in the tournament. But that being said, right, like, now we can look forward ahead as we wait for the interview. We have a potential rematch. Or it's not even potential anymore. We have a rematch for the team that brought Zero Tenacity down to the lower bracket just after this 4 elimination, you two. Are we going to see ZT bring it back and defeat XO once and for all?
It's a good thing you're asking us on this desk and not that one, Dan, because I know he's, you know, he's going to be coming up here shortly. If you asked that question a couple minutes from now, he would say, "Oh heck no, XO are going to walk away with it with a 3-0." But I like to think that Zero Tenacity, now that they've had some time to marinate on the situation, and now that they've gotten a pretty decent challenge in the Chiefs in the rearview mirror, that they're going to be locked in on manifesting that and making it a reality. I don't think it's going to be as much of a blowout the second time around. Can Zero Tenacity clear that hurdle? I want to say yes, and I'm gonna say yes. I'm just gonna say it. I think they can beat XO. If they play like this, they can and they should.
You know what's crazy about this specific matchup too? Oh, never mind. We're gonna have to wait a few more minutes because we're gonna bring it up in the interview. Speaking of which, ring ring. Who do we have on the line? Oh, it's Soko! Hello, Soko. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. I'm feeling good about that win.
Oh, I'm sure. But even though you're feeling good about that win, today must have been super stressful, especially, and I hate to start this interview off negatively, but after that loss against the Chiefs in what was it, the third map, things must have felt at least a little scary before Hell's Heaven. Talk to me about that experience.
I think after that third map, I don't think we exactly felt scared. We feel pretty comfortable on that map that we pivoted to on the fourth map, and we figured out the adjustments we needed to make. We opted more for dive instead of front to back, and I think that plays to our strengths.
Do you think that this is going to be a strategy that you're going to have to employ as you face more difficult teams in the lower bracket?
I think so. I think we're taking it match by match. We just need to figure out the adjustments we need to make in the middle of the match. If something's not working, then we need to figure out what other options we could possibly pivot to instead of sticking to one option that clearly isn't working. I think before, that is something we were struggling with. We'd commit wholeheartedly to one comp instead of making the counter swaps we'd actually need to secure like a round or just like a map.
Yeah, we saw some of those swaps coming through, and I think, once you kind of made some of those swaps on the first map, it looked like you guys were in the driver's seat for the bulk of that series. As Keg said, you're going to have some more difficult teams that you're going to face in the lower bracket. One in particular, XOXO01, the team that pushed you down into the lower bracket. What do you think went wrong in that matchup, and what do you think the adjustment is going to be for them specifically?
I think that's also another case where we just weren't counter swapping when we needed to. We would stay on something that wasn't as optimal, and we would just not adapt. But I think now after that loss, we've adapted and we've drilled it into our heads that we need to make these adaptations when push comes to shove. So I think we're feeling pretty good.
I want to gauge like how good you are feeling. It's kind of rough. I think that you guys believe that you can beat XO. I've talked to Oni as well, and I think he also believes that you guys can beat XO. But there's more challenges on the horizon. Two of them specifically, Reject and Gen G. If you can beat one of them, there's a chance you can snake a land spot. Do you think that's a possibility, and what would it mean to you guys as a team?
I think anything's possible. I think if we continue to improve as we go through this lower bracket run, we iron things out, as possible issues that we had. I think we could possibly do it. I feel like over the past several months we've gotten a lot closer as a team. Granted, we've been boot camping during the times when we're playing matches, so it would mean a lot to us.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the hope for all the teams here, to secure that spot, and I think it would be all that much more meaningful for you guys, considering the bond that you've been able to cultivate. But in terms of the next series ahead of you, do you have any predictions on how many maps it might take?
I'm not sure. Could be 3, could be 5, could be 4.
Just give it 4. Just give it 4.
Yeah, 4. Okay, maybe 4. Maybe 4. Let's see 4. Maybe 4.
Just say 4. Like, you give yourself one map to kind of adjust if you need it, but other than that, just dominance, just like we saw in this series.
I'm gonna piggyback off CB and Matsy on their questions and focus on XOXO for my final one here. You're in a very unique spot where you don't get a day to prep between this match you just had and one for tomorrow. It's only going to be a few hours from now. Those next few hours are very important for you and the rest of Zero Tenacity's esports careers wholesale. Talk to me about what the next few hours are going to look like for you and your team.
I'd say we're gonna rest for a little bit, just like relax after that match, and then we're gonna start prepping. Although I will say, we expected EXO to win versus Triple AD, so we've already started prepping in advance.
Okay. Can we get a sneak peek?
I no sneak peek, no leaks.
They don't got.
No,
Yeah,
I
don't
tried.
ask him to reveal the strats
That's
before
my
an elimination
job.
match.
That's my job. I am the pot
You
stirrer.
know Sungjuk Woo is in the chat right now, most likely, and he's
Hey,
just like, oh,
I
please
don't
give me
know
something.
that. I don't know that. Soko, thank you so much, dude. If you want to say anything to the audience right now, please, the platform is yours, dude.
Thank you for supporting Zero Tenacity, and wish us luck.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Soko. Yes, absolutely. Good luck to you, my friend. Zero Tenacity, Soko, thank you so much, my friend. Can't wait to see you again, potentially in a few hours.
Awesome.